I guess? Dude, I have no idea. All right, here we are. Maybe YouTube links are fine? Later, Dev. Hope you have a good one. We were just messing around with this. We still don't have it quite the way that I want it to, but I mean, I really like, you see this bit right here where they kind of like do a weird thing? Like, I'm so close to getting that work, but it's not there. And this looks horrible, so we're going to be removing it. And then we're going to close this, and don't save it. Save and close. All right. Based on the recommendation of chat, we are watching God's Gang Love is in the Air Hole. Jesus, what is that name? Okay, yeah. We have Saberspark talking about it. I'm also going to be eating some food. Oh no? That's not a recommendation of chat? I believe it is. Production quality is solid.
Man, I'm more excited than a kid getting to skip Hebrew school.
You think your school was boring? In my madrasa, you couldn't hear the lessons over the snoring.
Yeah? Well, my Sunday school promised eternal life. And
Come on.
that's exactly how long it felt.
Guys, it's our day off. Let's have fun.
Top one Hindu's right. Plus, we've got a mission, and that's to crush the devil's spinal cord. Yalla!
Sorry.
Huh?
Too short for the ride, kid.
Kid? Do you know how long ago my bar mitzvah was?
Aw, someone could use a lolly.
Huh. Tall enough now? Kid?
Enjoy the ride.
I hate being small.
Like, I will say, the quality, like, the animators are good, the voice actors are okay, the music is, you know, pretty good for something of this quality. It's a very well polished piece of shit. I don't know why it was made.
Fine, Ninja. And I need you to ride with me on the scary part.
Who are the bad guys in this universe?
Mad scientists.
But what are they so mad about? Today?
When we were kids, no one would play with us.
But now, you kids don't have a choice. With our reanimator guns.
Thought, speech, action, God's Gang, go!
Also, okay. I'm not, I'm not, like, super aware of, you're not supposed to use the Lord's name at all if you're Muslim, right? Now, they don't believe that. Okay. I'm just saying God's Gang sounds like a bad name if you're... Okay.
Ninja to the rescue! Huh? Oh, oy vey.
fear. Crisscross is here. Flying cross. Just like a,
Boss?
yeah.
Oi, go.
Crisscross is actually like an okay name for that. Like, I'm not sure who this is for, you know? Like, it seems like you've gone so accepting and so, like, loving of other cultures and groups. Somehow, Allah is not technically a name, it's a title. You're supposed to say, okay, other way around. Like, God is great, God is good kind of stuff. I'm not exactly sure where that line is on being offensive, and I don't want to intentionally be offensive, but I feel like this is unintentionally offensive as well. Also, has anyone noticed there's a gradient now on the YouTube play bar? That it goes from red to pink?
Kidnap your own playmates. Let's go steal some friends off the bumper cars.
Think again. Nerd here.
Take one and do. Block and tackle.
You read my mind, which is weird because I'm the telepath.
What?
Okay, now we're even madder scientists.
Too bad, because stealing animals is a Taekwondo don't.
Oh.
Well, that was unexpected.
Still be Sunday school or Hebrew school, right, Ninju?
Hey, where is Ninju?
I let you guys down. I just wasn't big enough for the job.
Ah, don't say that.
Hey, Ninju. Even LeBron Jordan sometimes misses the shot.
Wait, what? Even LeBron Jordan? Okay.
Ninju. Even LeBron Jordan sometimes misses the shot. What? He's the best player in the NBA.
Cheer up, bud.
Huh? A work call.
Greetings, gang.
Hey, Miss
Oh, okay.
Dogma.
What up, my fur friend?
I have an urgent search and rescue mission for you from you know who.
But we had the day off.
Sorry to cut off your important cotton candy business, Sumo Slim, but do you think evil takes a day off?
Probably Wednesday. Nobody wants to come to work on Wednesday.
Well, it's Tuesday, and the world's entire population of blue whales is disappearing.
Disappearing? But where are they going?
Yeah, Chris, that's the search and rescue part.
Okay, but do we have any leads on where they've gone?
Not yet, but LaDove has picked up the trail and is looking right now.
Miss Dogma, what about if the...
Enough questions. Go save the whales.
All right, gang. Time to
Okay, like, this is so confusing because it's like, it's so well made for being such a horrendously stupid idea. You know?
this van into wet gear. Paging LeDove. Come in, LeDove. Do you have a visual on the whales? Over.
LeDove here. I am not seeing them anywhere. Maybe if there was some color besides les bleus.
Yeah, you'd think the world's biggest creature would be easier to spot.
Wait, I can feel what the whales are saying. Let's party?
Frederick and Increderick, the reptilians. What are these Meshuggah aliens up to this time?
Reptilians?
For a party that is off the fish hook.
Nice try. You're clearly not blue. Isn't your daddy looking for you?
Like,
We gotta break in there. But
you know,
how?
this reminds me a lot. Okay, some people are going to be very, very, I'm gonna piss off like some of chat. And I'm sorry, but I'm fucking right. This all looks like PBS Kids stuff. You know what I mean? Like, not pajama spam. Oh. God, what was the name of that show? Okay, alright. This is some random Reddit meme, but like, who's the girl from March? Because like that show, that's the one I'm trying to find. Cyber Chase. Yeah, it's kind of got Cyber Chase vibes, where it's like, there's a really high level of quality here just being wasted on a weird ass IP.
Ran a laser mode. If we drive in there, they'll blow us up. But if we try another entrance, it might be too small to fit in. And if we go get a drill, it might take too long.
What if we become one with the whales?
Hey, is that a okay. Hi, Abby. You can't have any of my chicken.
Greetings, my fellow whales.
Great Vishnu!
My God.
Ya Allah.
Okay, this is definitely not the kind of party Mama would approve of.
No.
I can't find its blowhole.
Look harder. We need to stock up and steal all the whales' wonderful aroma, or else our planet will continue to stink.
It wasn't me. It was the planet.
Rev added permitted term French insoles. Yeah, thank you, Twinkmaster, for making me add French insoles to the allowed terms list.
I swear.
Stealing the whales smell? What?
I found this blowhole in a very strange place.
Take one Hindu. Let's bowl.
Yeah.
Did you just depressurize and kill everyone?
Strike. Now, let's get to work. I got a plan under this kipper.
You're in trouble now.
Chris, she blocks us through the guards.
I love you, enemy. I love you too. You.
Oh, for fuck's sake, he turns the other cheek. That's his ability. God damn it.
Not so much. Sue Muslim works his storytelling magic.
Let me tell you a tale of a planet perfumed with the fragrant blossoms of the rare fresh sweet-bread rose.
We free.
Wait, okay. Why is that? Oh, I guess story. Okay.
all the whales. While Taekwon Hindu figures out how to get the whales to go somewhere else.
We blue whales are endangered, so we came to the party because we're lonely for whale friends.
Dang! I've got it!
Sure.
Yes!
Muslims are known for being hardcore about poetry. Okay.
How beautiful!
Thanks, you guys.
For bringing us even more whales. Now our mission will suck twice as much.
Oh, no it won't. I mean, it will. I mean, let's kick someone's butt for God's sakes.
Why did she say that? I don't know enough about Hinduism to be able to say whether or not this makes any sense, but I'm not really sure why she's... First off, that mark on her head is a representation that she's married, right? But it also gives her telekinetic powers or something? It's like the equivalent of a wedding ring. She did say gods for plural. Yeah.
Well, that was easy.
Come on, God's gang. It's time to increase
The peace.
What?
Increderick, call off the tubes!
Yeah, who needs tubes when we can just tank the whales?
Unleash the Nutcracker!
Oh, my lord. We have to disable that vessel, but it's too high up.
I know. Talk one Hindu. Tell the whales to join blowholes and make the biggest water spout ever.
right.
Okay. What? Fucking join blowholes. Is that docking?
Too much noise. I can't get through. I need some help, guys.
Sounds like it's harmony time. يا الله بدونك أنا ما بسوى شيء.
Amazing.
بدونك أنا ما بسوى.
I will say, okay, they're all singing different hymnals from whatever the religions are. I don't know any Hindu ones. Her song's kind of banger, not gonna lie.
What in the...
It's time to walk on water. Yeah.
Yeah, of course you can do that.
Speed up the Nutcracker!
Oh, Lord. It's breaking up. I'm too heavy.
Don't look at me.
If only one of us was small enough for that spout.
If only one of us would... Okay.
Oh no, what is this tiny human going to do to us?
Sue Muslim, serve me one hot falafel.
Soft oriental music.
And it's Ninja with the alley. Ooh.
Increderick, retreat!
Oh, back to State World for
The Muslim guy has bomb falafels.
Great work, gang. Now you get to party. There's just been one small change.
Today's interfaith special. Veggie curry kebab burger with latkes.
Hey, come on, try it. It may look weird, but it works perfect. Together.
Okay, question. Okay. I will say that that is probably a very tasty meal that they have made. But, like, is this chill with every religion that's going to be eating this? Because, like, yeah. Because it's potato. It's fried potato stuff. Like, that's a, yeah, sure, why not? Because, like, yeah, it's basically just fries. Fries and a burger with curry on top. See, the curry on top is wrong. The curry should be in the burger like a sauce. That's not what it looks like for sure. Yeah, no. And then kebab burger. I mean, I guess that's how you get around the I think it's fine. I think you can eat that. I don't know enough about Hinduism to be able to say. Hinduism, vegetarian. Hinduism encourages vegetarianism. Yeah, that's what I thought. Non-violence and compassion towards all beings. It isn't. 44% of Hindus say they're vegetarian. So it's probably one of those things that you're supposed to do, but it's probably also one of those things that it's just like, meat's good and it's kind of everywhere, you know? Who saw it? That's Abby. She's doing a screen beam. Like, it seems like one of those things that, like, if it's like, yeah, like eating meat on Friday or whatever, there's a little bit of wiggle room there. And just like, yeah, maybe you just interpret it just enough where you can have, like, you can eat meat. But you could probably do a veggie one. I don't know what a veggie kebab would be.
Bar burger with latkes.
Hey, come on, try it.
I don't understand what the pigeon's supposed to be.
Flimflameleon, they are stupid that they don't get the taste of Le Dove. Le Dove would have taken off his white glove and slapped him across the mouth like, yeah. They are lucky that they had God's gang instead of Mua.
Why is the dove French? You need to see the... Oh god, there's more. Reading mean comments, let's go!
Hi everybody. Many of you really liked the show. Some of you didn't really get us. We're getting a lot of comments, mainly positive ones, but some are not that great. Let's do it.
What a pathetic way to whitewash religion as some mechanism of unity, when reality, it's all divisive child.
Carl Sagan. Wait, his name is Nimrod? Is it really? Oh my god, it is. Evil atheist detected.
So it's either you didn't see the episode or you didn't get the message.
Hello there, God's Gang team. I have a question. Why you use the name called God's Gang? But there is gang on the end of it. Tell me why gang? Is the name of your logo called God's Gang?
Okay, so that's not translated well. This is unironic. Yeah, this treat, I feel like this is way too... Why gang? I mean, like, alliteration? GG? Sure.
Basically, God's Gang is a good gang. It's God's Gang, good gang. Didn't you get it?
It's make-believe. These religions aren't compatible and will kill each other when one of them gets too big.
We had thousands of years to try do that. Obviously, that didn't happen. We're all here. And also, as someone who have a Muslim...
I would say Muslims might be a little pissed off at Christians still. There was the whole Crusades thing happening a lot.
group of friends and Christians as friends and Hindus, I don't think it's gonna happen. And let's make sure it's not gonna happen.
The name of God's Gang itself implies that the Muslim acknowledges the existence of other gods, which contradicts Islam's teachings.
Okay.
We invite you to visit the God's Gang website. Check our team. We have an advisory board made out of the 4 faiths that are presented in this show, and we validate everything. Trust us, we can work together.
This offends all religions. It must have been created by an atheist.
Why are the end cards showing in the middle of the video? You can set when they appear. I don't know how he's managed to set them halfway into the episode.
Atheist? Sorry. You didn't listen to this.
This smells like it was made by Israelis.
Guilty. I'm based in Israel, but the project is spread over 15 countries. 67 Muslims from Indonesia worked on the pilot episode. 20 worked on the second episode.
Wait, what? How many?
20 worked on the second episode. 67 Muslims from Indonesia countries. 67 Muslims from Indonesia
67
worked
Muslims.
On the pilot episode. 20 worked on the second episode.
Where did 42 Muslims go? What happened to them? Like, that's not the way I want those numbers to go. I mean, not,
Choreography, character design, Europe, script writing, US. Who cares?
This is offensive. Remove the Muslim character.
Okay, but let's remove the Christian and the Hindu and the Jew. Okay? No.
Muslims cannot be friends with Hindus.
I'm glad he has a stimming object. He didn't even respond to that one. I mean, there's nothing really to... This is like not my, like... What? Like, intrafaith stuff is very common, actually. Like, I remember the church that I grew up in would regularly have just like... We'd go to a, like, synagogue, and then they'd come to the church. We both do our things, and it's like... Cool, guys!
The Muslim and the Jew are friends.
Well, that's great. Check this out.
Did he reuse the same image a couple times?
Did you watch the episode? Did you watch the episode? Did you watch the episode? Go watch the episode. Watch the episode.
Yeah, you did.
Check our team.
Yeah, sure. Let's watch the second episode. It's pissing off everyone in chat, which means this is what I should be doing right now. The intro song isn't bad.
Slim stories are hypnotizing. Taekwondo Hindu reads animals' minds while ninjas overanalyzing. Ladove and dogma
Analyzer?
No matter who or what attacks.
Hey, who took my chef hat?
Huh, not me. Every time I put that thing on, I get lost. All right, Taekwondo Hindu. Can you beat my Eagle Man? Kaka!
I think so.
What?
What the fuck game is this?
Ganesh? Ha! That's cold.
A better question is, where's Chris?
Surprise! What? Oh, my burger. Oh, come on, Ladove. Merci beaucoup. Oh, so I gave Sue Muslim the day off and decided to make everybody cheeseburgers.
Thank you so much, Chris, but I don't eat the meat of a cow.
And I do.
Yeah, I would assume that, like, the telepath wouldn't cheat. Like, that would be fucked. Why are we suddenly tweening? Because the first episode had a little bit more money. They had 42 more Muslims on the first one. They lost their 42 Muslim budget. And I guess that's where all the animators were.
If it's halal.
Oh, and yeah, Chris, I can't eat it if it has cheese on top.
Yeah, because that's like a thing. You can't do like... Cheese is not chill. Okay. This is,
I see. I guess there's only one option for us now. Your plan is working. Them faith freaks done finally realized that they's just too divided to work together. Hey, guys. I'm sorry to say this, and I think that the only option that we have left is to have a French fry party. Yeah! Awesome. Oh, yeah!
Why did this require action? What? Dude, I'm hungry. Stop.
What? Stop stealing my French fries, little dove. Well, technically, you stole it from me first. I am French, you see. These are French fries. Tell me, how come they never invite us?
I gotta say, Chris, I'm a huge fan of your cooking.
Nothing happened to this episode. He just like wasn't considerate of his. Wait, what? What were the bad guys doing? What were they even about?
What can I say? I love American food. A guilty pleasure. Don't tell anyone.
And, yeah, kind of funny story. Chris, I can't really eat it if it has cheese on top. You know, there's a thing about that, you know. So, yeah, there's this whole thing about how you prepared the food and everything and all the kind gesture that I can't eat any of it with all the cheese and whatnot. But listen, that's all you. Thank you. It looks good. It looks good. That really does look good. But, yeah, see, Chris...
Why are you making outtakes? The pink thing was a part of the KKK. Where are you getting that? God's gang. Tell me what the fuck this guy's deal is. Ex-French resistance aerial saboteur. French resistance. Like, who is he resisting? Well, I think that he was... It's ex-resistance saboteur. Like, World War II resistance fighter is the only thing I can think of. So, like, was he... I mean, good for him. The baddies, alright. Corpo creeps. By day, it seems like boring business folks churning out a profit, but by night, they transform into demons, trying to take over the world. World's matter into dark energy. Whether you're old or young, they will try and enslave your soul. Okay, based. Reptiloids that come from a planet of Stinchdonia. To steal the... Okay. The really mad scientists, too smart for their own good, misunderstood. They just want social recognition without any accomplishments to support it. Oh, okay. And the TTT, the tremendous terror torture, are filled with hate towards all others. The only love they carry is towards their leader, Delilah. I mean, yeah, that is the KKK. Like, the fucking pitchfork and the tiki torch. Okay. Look, the KKK are bad guys in this, as are money-grubbing assholes. Okay. Sure. Work... Head writer Conan O'Brien, The Daily Show. Wait, what the fuck? Industry advisor for Netflix and Riot Games. Animation executive for Netflix and DreamWorks. I mean, okay. You should check the Saberspark video. Like...
The thing about what it is, or that you prepared and everything in all your good faith and God love you, but I can't eat any of that. Sorry about that. It's the whole cheese thing. I hope you understand.
Like, that's not a... Is it offensive? Can we watch Bunny Maloney?
Crisscross, Muslim, Taekwondo, Hindu, Ninju. Ah!
We can come back to that in a second.
Crisscross, Muslim, Taekwondo, Hindu, Ninju. Ah!
I get what they're going for with
God's Game,
Ninju.
An animated
it just seems
that I
offensive.
stumbled across months ago on Twitter, and it just kind of made me numb. I was dumbfounded at what I was seeing, because at that moment, I couldn't help but ask myself, is this for real?
Do you know how long ago my bar mitzvah was?
Aw, someone could use a lolly.
Huh.
Because on the surface, what you have here is something that you would see as like a parody on South Park. As a matter of fact, they did that. Like the religious super friends, that's what this feels like, except take the concept, all right, of the religious super friends, but treat it more like Captain Planet. Boom, that is God's Gang.
Crisscross is strong and kind combined. Sumo Slim stories are hypnotizing. Taekwondo Hindu reads animals' minds while ninjas overanalyzing.
You got this interfaith religious team of crime fighters and superheroes. You get the Christian guy. You got the Muslim guy. Islam, I guess. You got the Hindu girl.
I think that if
the Jewish guy.
The vibe is, you know, like...
And yeah, on the surface, I was like floored. I'm like, is this is satire? It has to be satire. There's no way this is for real. But I watched the first episode on YouTube, and I was like blown away because these folks are legit.
Yeah.
You heard about the Muslim, Christian, Jew, and Hindu that walked into hilarious adventures? Saving the world together.
God's Gang, go!
Well, let me tell you all about it.
Also, by the way, this intro for the cartoon, gotta give props. It's really catchy.
Right. Like for like a...
Now I have to ask, is a show like God's Gang offensive? Is it ignorant? Is it tone deaf? Are these stereotypes being used here? Or is this just simply misplaced good intentions? Well, let's see what Twitter has to say. I asked my Twitter, I'm like, hey, what do y'all think about the show? I got a few replies to go off of. Got somebody
Okay.
said, I fuck with it. Got somebody here, Gina, saying it kind of screams guilty pleasure to me, not gonna lie. Yeah, it's over the top and ridiculous, but I just can't help but laugh at it. Command Line Vulpin says, it feels like the world's most elaborate trolling attempt. RVL here says, Ninju. Peter here says, wait, this is real? Sir Zappardy Official, Sir Sparity?
What is
some people feel
this?
it's offensive, but they're not trying to be
Are you
offensive.
gonna
The
say
shows
anything
and the
of
creators'
value?
message is actually really wholesome. And yeah, if you scrub down throughout these replies, you see a lot of folks who are like, the guy really has his heart set on making this show in a very altruistic way.
We're coming with these stories that are action-based and adventure and fellowship, you know, joining unity, but sometimes you need to kick butt for God's sake. It's not a show about...
Like, I haven't watched Saber Spark stuff before, but is he just yap for a long time? Because I feel like... I mean, we watched it. I don't really feel like he's saying anything that I wasn't aware of. Right. I mean, yeah, I just don't feel like I need to watch this because I just watched that. Fan reviews. I don't know as if Atheist reacts to multi-faith kids cartoon. Jesus. Okay. Is she wearing an Eva suit? Wait, why are you wearing an Eva suit?
Wouldn't it be really cool if there was a show about people with a bunch of different religions ganging up against Scientologists? Oh wait, there is. It's called God's Gang, and it's really incredible. It's about respecting people with different beliefs and being able to work with them. Unless they're Scientologists. Fuck Scientologists. When I have kids, my kids are watching this. And also there's reptilians in the show for some reason, and Conspiracy Me loves that.
What the fuck? I think she has scientists confused with Scientologists. Boy howdy, I have no idea. Yeah, Scientology seems like it would be... I mean, like, listen, this... This is the worst way of doing this, but honestly, like, it seems like they've got their heart in the right place. Like, there's some rancid bullshit in this. I'm sorry. I mean, Ninju is just not the right name. I
have children. They've grown up watching animated series. I see what's happening in the world. And I have this dream of children asking their parents, why can't they get along like my friends at God's Gang?
See, like, that's the energy this is. The science is evil. Well, okay, so the scientists in this, they want credit. According to the website, they want credit for doing nothing. Was that Frank West? No, that was Rob Kuttner, apparently. Whoever that is. That's how it's represented in the first episode. Yeah, I mean, that's what it says on their website too, right? Like, tell me how that's represented. They literally say that they want that happened. Like that's word for word, I think, what they say in the first episode. Right here.
Not the mad scientists.
But what are they so mad about? Today?
When we were kids, no one would play with us. But now, you kids don't have a choice. With our reanimator guns.
Thought, speech, action, God's gang, go!
Like, listen to the way they talk about each other and the group.
Huh? Oh, oy vey.
Not to fear, Chris Cross is here. Flying
We're getting to it. We're getting there.
Cross. Just like a
Boss?
yeah.
Oi, go kidnap your own playmates. Let's go steal some friends off the bumper cars.
Think again. Nerd herd.
Taekwondo, block and tackle.
You read my mind, which is weird because I'm the telepath.
I'm not really sure how being Hindu gives you telepathy powers, but okay.
Okay, now we're even madder scientists.
Too bad, because stealing animals is a taekwondo.
Oh.
Well, that was unexpected.
Still be Sunday school or Hebrew school, right, Ninju?
Hey.
Wait, where's the...
I let you guys down.
Yeah, I thought for some reason, yeah, too smart for their undergood, misunderstood. They just want social recognition without any of the accomplishments to support it. That isn't, yeah, I thought that was a little bit more explicit than it actually was. That's not really what happens. Or at least that they're not clear about what their motivations there are. Like, they're not explaining that the reason they want to steal children is so that way they can have friends. It's just too representative of science harassing children. I mean, it is like one episode so far. So, like, yeah. Okay, so like, but okay, let's go through like all the different guys that we've seen. So we've seen these guys. We didn't really get how they were. I mean, I guess like him putting in the cheeseburger mix was like, I think that's how he was influencing him. Like the racist guy who's trying to make it so that way he would like sprinkle a little of hatred into the food, and then Crisscross goes back and fixes it afterwards. Like the cheeseburgers was the hate crime that the KKK guys, or excuse me, TTT did. These guys did say that they wanted to unstinkify their planet. That short boiled down to, we can't be friends, our diets are different. You're pushing politics onto this to make it a I mean, like, scientists have been a villain trope for years. That's true. That's true. I need more context on these guys, and I suspect in the next episode they probably won't have the mad scientists. I bet you the next episode is with the rich assholes, these business people, and like, yeah, it really is just the scientists that are like, kind of, I don't know about that one, my dude. Like, I don't think there's any, like, Satan is bad. I mean, like, you know, he's got, okay. They're literal demons. it checks out though that I mean, yeah, but that's not what Satanism is about. So like, it's okay. Yeah, like Satanists don't believe in no, but it's a surface level Christian dickhead's interpretation. Right, but I don't think it's insane for Christians to be like the devil is bad. That's like one of the 2 points in the Bible, right? Like God is good, Satan bad. Love thy neighbor. So like, well, they hang out with Hindu women because they're an interfaith group. I don't really know how you can combine those two, but look, if they can be friends, sure. I don't know. The heart's in the right space. I think that they just like... I honestly don't see a problem with this. It's clumsy. I wouldn't show it to my children just because I'm not gonna do that. Like, be religious towards my children. Yeah, I think that they're not trying to be offensive. I think that they're just being a little clumsy about it. It really does feel like this is a let's all come together and stop hating each other. And yeah, I would give this to someone who isn't like, I think that the problem is like it's an absolutely insane logic here. Like, I have no idea what the fuck they were doing. But yeah, I mean, if you wanted, you could do that, sure. Let's check out this one. You guys showed me this channel the other day,
How's it
and
going, dudes? We are in a really bad spot, man. I've already covered every controversial game that I could find, and if I don't come up with some whack crap soon, I might have to cover a relevant game for once. Ugh.
Only bad thing about so Satanists intentionally go for the bad PR. That's part of it. Like, Satanism is a self-serving religion. Parentheses positive. Someone wanted to do a pixel art cartoon somewhat locally, but it worked out to be way too expensive. Yeah.
I'm in quite the pickle, dudes. Quite the pickle. This has me experiencing feelings of dismay, grief, or exasperation. The player will select which of the 4 families they would like to play as.
This is Oy Vey, a very anti-Semitic board game. Intentionally or not, I'm not sure which. Why are we watching this? I don't know. Who's there? I'm a little curious about the Lunchly thing, but I think it's just lead, isn't it?
KSI, Mr. Beast, and Logan Paul have announced they were teaming up and launching a new food product called Lunchly to compete with the uber popular kids brand Lunchables.
Let me see if I can find I'm gonna get the media share list up.
Social media to criticize the product and the creators themselves. Logan and Jimmy were quick to push back on the critics with their own posts, and in the process created newsworthy headlines like,
YouTube stars are coming for your kids' lunch. It's a
lead, asbestos, and microplastics.
And KSI teaming up to take on Lunchables.
And I usually don't make videos discussing creators' products, but when terms like healthier or better for you get tossed around.
Why does every YouTuber with a neon sign speak the same? Okay, so those are two different things. Also, we've got an ad break, so there's the tuber voice, which is just like you make more money, and then the LEDs or the you know, you got to have something nice and cool looking in the background, and a neon sign is a cool thing to put in the background. Because who has a neon sign, you know? Anyway, I've got a minute that I need to go put away my plate and such, so I'm gonna go do that. I'll be right back. Half a sec. All right, I'm back. Also, I need to move my cool thing back into position. Cool. You just gotta have some, like, stuff. You know, this is like just YouTube 101. You gotta have random shit in the background. But not too much random shit. It's gotta be curated random shit.
I feel it's important to set the record straight. So, in the spirit of avoiding personal attacks, let's take a look at the science of Lunchly, including a true issue with their kits I don't think anyone has correctly pointed out yet. For those who may not know, Lunchables are basically these pre-packaged do-it-yourself meal kits. They've usually got things like crackers, deli meats, cheeses, treats, and come with a little drink. And since their inception, they've been super popular with kids. However, it's been known, especially by experts, that while these kits are fun and tasty, their nutritional value is just not good. They're often too high in sodium, saturated fat, and added sugars, and don't use healthy whole food ingredients. And because they fall into the category of ultra-processed foods, they aren't healthy to consume often, period. Studies actually show that those consuming high amounts of UPFs can have up to 50% higher risk of developing obesity, and some specific UPFs are linked to increases in cancer. I see it even in my clinic. So many of my pediatric patients are over-consuming UPFs, and it's becoming a growing problem across the country. Consumer Reports even dedicated a special feature highlighting the problems with Lunchables and why they should.
Yeah, I mean, I guess electrolytes are just salts. What is this? This is Dr. Mike talking about Lunchables and shit.
Be consumed regularly due to health risks. My own take on Lunchables, I don't recommend parents pack them for their kids on a daily basis. A low quality food with poor nutritional value.
I'll be real, I've had Lunchables once and it was at space camp. I wanted to go to like real space camp, but we didn't have like we didn't have that kind of money. So I went to like the discount one that was like set up in the middle school or high school. And they had us out in a portable. And one day, it was like a summer camp thing. It's very low budget. They had a TV to show the rocket taking off, and they shook the beds. They put us in like bunk beds, and they shook the beds to make it seem like we're taking off. So yeah, and that's I think the one time that I had a Lunchable, and it wasn't very good.
Now, what about Lunchly? Starting with the first claim, in the press release announcing
I always feel like I have to explain that was like the price point of space camp that I went to. I'm not talking about the fancy space camp, because there's a fancy space camp that looks really fucking awesome. Like, I'd see like magazines and shit about this. Like, look at this. You get to do like space training shit and all that. It's a measly $1,800. You don't get to go to actual space, but you get to do a lot of space things. $2,000 to do a 6-day, 5-night adventure with hand-on interactive space missions. I don't think the odds of you becoming an astronaut are particularly high. Fancy space camp where they have the money to, yeah, $2,000. So yeah, we definitely didn't go to one of these. I went to a much cheaper, locally run one.
Logan Paul was quoted as saying,
That's why I always clarify that that's the kind I went to, because I don't want people to think, oh, Rev, he went to space camp. He must have had real fucking money. No, we did not have that kind of money. I'm too tall to be an astronaut? Wait, is that how tall is Buzz Aldrin? $5'10". Shit. That's probably a thing.
Lunchly is a healthier alternative and that it's a better for you lunch option compared to Lunchables. In fact, throughout the Lunchly website and the social media promo posts, you'll see countless comparisons being made to Lunchables. To be honest, some of the comparisons are kind of cringe and don't make much sense to me, but maybe that's because I'm not the target demo. Flavorful
I love that for Buzz Aldrin. I think he should go around punching people. Imagine, do you know how much of a bitch it is to get to space? Like, to be someone that fucking hardcore, like, you have to be, like, smart, physically fit, and brave enough to literally just get launched into space. They had no fucking idea of how it was gonna work. There was an entire possibility that the surface of the moon was just not solid, and they would have just sunk into it or something.
Identical to Lunchables. Big gestures versus mid moments. I
What?
certainly don't remember that lesson in my nutrition classes. I was more concerned with the nutritional comparisons being made anyway. So if someone was to make a healthy meal kit for kids, I would find that incredibly valuable.
Yeah, the president had a card ready for if they died. They didn't know it was going to happen.
Which they have. Protein, which they have. Sugar, which they have. Saturated fat, which is missing. And sodium, which is not only missing, but replaced by electrolytes. And unlike all the other macros, is only labeled potassium and only in the prime bottle in the kit, comparing it to the Capri Sun in the Lunchables. This is a pretty weird marketing choice to label electrolytes in food products. It's such a strange choice that it even stunned fellow Dr. Brian Suderer, who tweeted,
"Sodium getting rebranded as electrolytes will be taught in marketing textbooks one day."
And sadly was ashamed to see Logan attack instead of starting a meaningful dialogue with the doctor, given that 400 milligrams is not the amount of electrolytes in Prime, at least in the image that Logan shared. 400 milligrams of potassium plus 5 milligrams of sodium equals 405 milligrams of electrolytes. It's not about nitpicking, it's just about being reasonable and honest to help further the conversation. Look, if I want to decide if a food is right for me, I like to be able to compare the entire electrolyte profile, which would have to include sodium. It's like having a PB&J sandwich label that says what's in the sandwich, you know, protein, fats, calories, but then the sugar line only tells you what's in the peanut butter as opposed to the jelly in the entire sandwich. I wanted to go further and do the comparison.
I've never had Prime. I don't like Logan Paul, so I won't buy it even as a meme. And, you know, a friend of mine brought some over and they're like, do you want to try some? And I'm like, no, that's Logan Paul shit. I don't want it. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going to be an asshole about it. Logan Paul has benefited from literally making fun of someone's dead body. I think that was him. Was that Logan Paul or was that the other one? Regardless, fuck that guy.
Since myself using the nutrition facts from the Lunchables and Lunchly websites, and it's honestly really hard to draw perfectly clear conclusions for several reasons. One, I don't have nutrition facts for each part of the kits. For example, how many calories come from Feastables versus the food component. Second, some of the portion sizes aren't the same. The turkey cracker kit from Lunchables is 82 grams, while Lunchly's is 72 grams. Three, there are so many varieties of Lunchables that just
Wait, if it's that much of a difference in the...
Swapping out the flavor of Capri Sun costs significant...
I don't know enough about KSI to... I just know that he hangs out with Logan Paul. And it's one of those, like... The company you keep is the friends or whatever. Like, I don't know KSI, but I know he likes Logan Paul, and I know they're good friends, which leads me to believe that I don't like him either. And then Mr. Beast, like... He's got a savior complex, but he has to be the one to save people.
Differences in sugar and calorie content. What I was able to conclude is that Lunchly has less sugar and therefore less calories than Lunchables in comparable kits. That's probably due to the drink component of the kit, as Capri Sun uses sugar and Prime is artificially sweetened. Lunchly has significantly more potassium than Lunchables because of the Prime drink, which I guess is good, but not something I'd regularly use in deciding if a food is an ideal lunch for a kid. Lunchly has slightly less sodium.
Mr. Beast is the white man's burden personified. What?
And saturated fat than comparable Lunchables. That's definitely moving in the right direction. However, both differences were fairly small. Lunchly does use real cheese as opposed to cheese product, signaling that at least one ingredient is less processed than in Lunchables. But the entirety of the kit is still considered an ultra-processed meal. Lunchly has higher amounts of A and B vitamins, which can be good, but also can be problematic as vitamin A is a fat-soluble vitamin, and kids can easily overconsume it, leading to toxicity. Being that it's fat soluble means that you can't just urinate excess out. This has actually been raised as an issue by experts with Prime in general. Despite these legitimate upgrades, social media posts are slamming Lunchly for not being perfect. But Lunchly does not need to be perfect to be valuable for kids. It just needs to be significantly healthier in order to reduce risk. As a doctor, I use risk reduction all the time. Essentially taking something harmful and replacing it with something less harmful, but still imperfect. As an example, I would never recommend starting vaping, but getting someone to replace smoking cigarettes with vaping is generally a good step down in terms of health risk. Knowing all that, is it fair to say that Lunchly is healthier? I guess one can say yes, but honestly, probably...
There's no way it tastes good.
More so as a marketing tactic. The reason why? Well, let's look at the recently passed nutrition standards set forth by the USDA for school lunches and see how Lunchly compares. Going line by line here. Less than 10% of calories.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure it does taste exactly the same as Lunchables.
23% of calories come from saturated fat. Less than 10% of calories should come from added sugars. Lunchly turkey, 10.4.
I mean, I drink soda, so I can't really be like, oh my god, Prime is so bad for you.
Pointed this out. You see, USDA caloric guidelines say that a lunch meal for kids K through 8 should contain around 625 calories. Kids need energy to
Isn't
function,
vaping a problem? It is. I think what he's saying is that vaping is less bad for you than smoking. Vaping originally was meant to be a alternative to smoking, that you vape as a way to stop smoking. So, but at some point it just became a replacement, as in like a different thing you could do, like cigarettes or something.
That energy. Lunchly turkey contains only 230 calories, which would mean...
I should also remind that See, I don't know Dr. Mike. I just saw Dr. Mike in the thing, but he was against quarantine. Like, I hate that COVID is just now a thing, because we couldn't shut the fuck up and stay inside for like a couple months. Like, it would have been that easy. We could have just eradicated it and the cold randomly just because it was there. But we decided against that. Yeah, that's some stupid ass shit. I saw this video that was trending on Reddit, and it was like slop content. Why YouTube is slop now. Yeah, it was one of these. And they were just complaining about the fact that it's... Yeah, we eradicated a flu strain while quarantining. Sure, cool.
Hey, my bowl of cereal. Has anyone else...
I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just call me?
Hey, my bowl of cereal.
Hey, my bowl of cereal?
Hey, my bowl of cereal.
I mean, his channel is Soggy Cereal.
Has anyone else gotten the feeling that YouTube's gotten pretty stale lately? Subscription feeds are dead, videos are stretched to the 20 to 30 minute mark without adding anything of value for the viewer. And at this point, every time I open my feed, I feel like it's filled with the exact...
Yeah, because this is exact kind of content that does well on YouTube. Who the fuck is this guy? I don't know. How are you not one of the YouTubers that's wasting my time?
Same videos I've already seen 1,000 times before, but just about a different topic. Or 30-minute follow-up videos to the same topic as yesterday, with only a tweet.
Yeah, if your sub feed sucks, that's a skill issue. Subscribe to different people.
But I feel like for the past few months, channels and videos like this being released has increased exponentially over every niche. And I'm clearly not the only one, since while working on this video, other creators have started speaking up about this problem. In tech, you now have 25-minute videos on 4 slightly different phone colors. And in the algorithm-obsessed Mr. Beast and his clone space of YouTube, you now have videos which are actually 10-minute long ads containing in themselves 12 smaller ads with small breaks in between each one, which in themselves are also ads.
After watching that commercial, do you want to eat this amazing chocolate?
Yes. Why, yes I do. But by far the most degradation in quality for the past few years has, in my opinion,
Alright, later, Weedleman.
the drama commentary genre. Or how more and more people are calling it, the slop center of YouTube. With fake titles, clickbaity yet forgettable thumbnails, videos that are 90% longer than they should have been, just content shamelessly being milked dry. I'm sorry, but how the fuck do you make 3 20-minute videos?
Yeah, I mean, like, Mr. Beast for me was like... He's always been a, like... As long as he's doing some good, I guess it's fine. He always gave me a weird vibe. But, yeah... when people were like, there's something wrong with him, I'm like... I don't know if, like, I will admit, like, I think I got grifted. Cause, like, I was like, yeah, okay, he's using his money to help people, that's okay. You know? It's kind of weird. Immediately made think of Bill Gates the whole, like, use philanthropy to get around the fact that you're actually a shit person. Yeah.
Total of 1 hour about like a single cool 10 DDM tweet and like 5 dumbass KSI and Logan Paul tweets in backlash to the release of a processed food product. Nick Okado's situation is crazy. Dr. Disrespect situation is wild.
The Boogie situation is sad.
Mr. Beast situation is insane. Just like my mental state after refreshing my YouTube feed for 1,000 times, expecting change, yet getting the exact same results. And with most of these videos, I feel like...
I don't know as if all the people he helped were friends, but he definitely, like, prioritized local people in order to not have to spend as much money to import people to help. This video is stupid. I'm just gonna skip to the most replayed bits.
Here's a star. And there are similar well-researched and optionally edited slop channels, like Oompaville, Some Ordinary Gamers, or Moist Critical, who also occasionally upload non-slop content, and that's why I don't really mind them. I watch most of these creators. But with every video that is well-researched, there are hundreds that are somehow double their length, containing nothing but misinformation or willfully ignorant statements. And there is no better example than with the Mr. Beast Slops and Dogbag 404 drama, where every slop channel jumped on like flies on a turd. A dog bag's turd filled with lime.
This is like a literally nothing burger of a complaint. Channels suck. Stop watching them. Like, the thing is that YouTube really does prioritize a very specific kind of content. Long content that is meant to keep your attention the whole time, that is drama based, because drama is controversial. Controversial means that people will like, dislike, and comment. Those are all things that increase engagement. And it's easily made. Like, literally just go find a tweet that someone said and then talk about it as long as you can. You want Let's Play YouTube back? It has to be worth the money for people. You know, it's yeah, slop content is just, yeah, it's those celeb new mags. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I never really, his complaint is valid, but yeah, I don't, also, like, having an entire video about slop content, this did not need to be 18 minutes long. He's made his point within the first, like, 4 minutes. I don't know what he could possibly say for the remaining 14. Like, legitimately, why did you make a video that is 14 minutes or 18 minutes long that didn't... Animal abuse is taking over YouTube. A video he made. You literally make the same fucking content. In fact, this video is that slop content. And we get a few hate watches.
This February of 2021.
So now we're actually looking at the RevCord Media share list. This is in the sub Discord. I've got it so that way people can submit videos and such that they want to show. And Shadow Wolf kindly put them all into a giant playlist to make it nice and easy for us. I'm working on some stuff for the Discord, and if you're part of the Discord, you already know what's up. If you're not part of the Discord, hold your horses. We're working on it.
A major winter storm made its way through the U.S. Central Plains.
So this is about the winter storm that happened in Texas. I was a part of this. I was in Texas at the time. We did not have power for several days, and it was basically we waited until the road was clear enough that we could drive, and then we drove to my folks' place where we were finally able to take a shower and flush the toilet because the water stopped working,
setting all-time records for low temperatures across the country. One of the biggest impacts of the storm happened here in Texas, where people across the state suffered extended outages of electricity and water. It was one of the worst winter weather events in history.
I just pissed outside.
Loss of life and
outside was literally freezing cold. My innie becomes an my outie becomes an innie as soon as I go outside in that cold. You know, like penis be gone.
Economic impacts that will take years to unfold. When disaster strikes, the flurry of political positioning and finger-pointing can make it difficult to understand what really happened. This is especially true for complex systems of infrastructure like the power grid, where most people really need a little more context and background than can be provided in a 500-word news story, but a little more boiled down than those discussions between economists and electrical engineers on Twitter. So, for the first time ever on this channel, by the way, I'm talking about a current event. This is a developing story, and we're still learning the details and consequences.
This
of
is
what happened
from a
during the
while
storm.
ago.
But I've received a lot of requests for a video like this.
Well,
and I hope we
okay,
can
so
provide some
here's the deal. Like, the issue wasn't that it was like just a winter storm. It was that the power grid, which I'm sure he's going to get into, the power grid was fucked. It was not maintained and basically, well,
clarity and technical knowledge to elevate the dialogue surrounding this disaster.
Fuck Greg
I'm
Abbott.
Greg,
Fuck Ted
and This is
Cruz.
Practical Engineering. Today's episode is the story of the 2021 Texas power grid emergency.
Yeah, Texas is super special. They get their own
Before diving
special
into the
power
chronology of
grid.
events, I want to just provide a quick overview of some important technical topics. I actually have a series of videos explaining
Texas, it wasn't just before that. I think it's hilarious. You just start the playlist? Yeah.
the power grid in greater detail, link below. So check that out if you want
Texas
to learn more.
never joined
A wide
the
area
power grid, but they
which is the
started
technical term for a power
now,
grid.
I think, because they had issues with whatchamacallit. Because of this, the government was like, look, we're going to give you help, but you fucking gotta get on the grid. Because, like, this is ridiculous. I think part of the...
is the solution to the number one problem of the supply and demand of electricity, volatility. There aren't many feasible ways to store large quantities of
own
electricity.
grid.
So for the most part, the supply and demand have to be matched
Yeah, it's still not
simultaneously.
connected
Electricity is produced,
yet.
transmitted, and consumed all in the exact same instant. Managing those ebbs and flows is a very difficult thing to do unless large groups of power producers and users are connected together, smoothing out the volatility of demands, making them more predictable, and the supply, making it possible to have larger, more efficient generating facilities. Interconnection increases the efficiency and reliability of electricity supply, and the majority of Texans are served by a single interconnection that covers most of the state. I'll be referring to it as the Texas power grid. Just because there are so many power producers and users interconnected doesn't mean there is no volatility in supply and demand. These are some example demand curves on the Texas grid. You can see that demand is always changing throughout the day. When power demand drops due to mild weather or at night when people are asleep, we need generators to shut down. Otherwise, the frequency of the AC power will speed up above 60 Hz. When demand spikes, we need generators spun up to match it. Otherwise, the extra load will bog down the physical generators and the frequency of the AC power will fall below 60 Hz. The consequences of the AC frequency deviating by too much are massive because every generator in the entire system is magnetically coupled. If parts of the system lose synchronization, both generators and equipment connected to the grid can tear themselves apart. Because of that, most parts of the grid, including generation facilities, have breakers that trip to isolate equipment if the frequency deviates too far. The breakers in your house monitor electrical current. If you plug in too many things to one circuit, the breaker will trip. These work in the exact same way, except...
just flick the switch on the Discord. Gonna have to check and see if I broke anything. Everything okay here? If someone has access to the sub Discord, please say something. Okay, cool. Okay, it looks like it's working okay. We've got an ad. What are you flicking? So we've been talking about this for a minute on the sub Discord about having a section for non-subs. I think that it's a great way for me to grow, and also with X now scraping the platform for AI, like they're taking people's art and adding it to an AI thing. I don't want people posting their art on or their art for me on Twitter because it'll fuck over artists. So I need to work on it some to get it set up just right, but I do want to make it so that way there's a section that non-subs can get to, and they can get to a spot where they can post art and shit. I think that it should help with a lot of problems. And I'm pausing this because there's an ad break right now, so... What about Blue Sky? I mean, Blue Sky is fine, don't get me wrong, but, like, I also don't want to, I don't know, I think it would be nice to have a centralized location, Boru, that isn't a Boru, you know what I mean? This is very much going to be an experiment for us. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I would like for it to be so that way you can have, like, we basically have one Discord for all the things. But we'll see if that works. I don't know. But I flicked a couple of preparatory switches. And we'll see what... Okay. What's wrong with the previous Boro again? So the Boro has problems. Boros in general have the issue of you have to moderate them really hardcore. I am one man and do not have the ability to moderate a Boro in a way that it needs to be done. Just can't happen. Additionally, the Vine Sauce Boro is essentially just not for anyone but Vinny anymore. So it's kind of weird to use it. So, yeah.
They monitor frequency.
Anyway, we're back, so I can make it so that we can actually hear.
Power is a quick fix. Large power generating stations don't turn on.
Vinny doesn't even look at art anymore.
So matching supply and demand to maintain a stable frequency is the most critical part of managing the power.
Yeah, people are not, I mean, yeah, people still post YOL art onto the Boro, but people don't post Rev art onto the Boro, or don't usually. And so it's just like, do I really want to, I don't know.
In Texas, the entity in charge of this task is ERCOT, the Electric Reliability Council of Texas. This is a nonprofit corporation with board members representing basically every segment of the electricity market, from generators to utilities to consumers. ERCOT's job is to oversee the entire system. They don't own or operate any facilities themselves, but they tell operators of generation facilities when to start and stop running, depending on the electrical demand. ERCOT also manages scheduled outages. Owners have to have approval from ERCOT before they take facilities offline for maintenance. Finally, ERCOT manages the wholesale market of electricity.
Vinny looks at the art to make his thumbnails.
Handling the transactions between power sellers and buyers. The week before Valentine's Day 2021 had already been a wintry one in many parts of Texas, but as the weekend drew near, the forecast started to make clear that the next week would be extraordinarily cold. On February 8th, a full week before things really hit the fan, ERCOT had already started issuing public communications about very high expected electrical demands across the state. They canceled or delayed approval for a large number of scheduled outages to make sure that as much electrical infrastructure as possible would be in service in anticipation of the storm. They worked with the Texas Railroad Commission, which confusingly is in charge of the oil and gas industry.
Yeah, that's a real big thing to understand as well, is that the Railroad Commission for some reason is like the biggest fucking deal in Texas. I've never seen a wind turbine in person. I have. Out in like West Texas, you'll just see them.
Natural gas to power plants. They also worked with the U.S. Department of Energy to get permission for some power plants to temporarily exceed their emission limits from the EPA during peak needs for electricity. All this to say, the folks managing the power grid were expecting exceptional strain on the system and had already started working the week beforehand to prepare. When the storm did hit on Valentine's Day, it really was one for the history books. 3 major facts to illustrate this point. First, it was extremely cold. This figure from the National Weather Service shows the departure from normal temperatures for 3 historical winter weather events in the southern U.S. plains. The one on the right is the 2021 event. Essentially, the entire southern US had average temperatures more than 25 degrees Fahrenheit or 15 degrees Celsius below normal.
Yeah.
All-time low temperature records were set in nearly every city across the region. It was
Yes.
the coldest many places had practically ever been. The next point, which you can see also in this figure, is that it was not just a local event. This storm had significant impacts across the entire state of Texas and beyond. Finally, the duration of frigid temperatures was just so long. This figure from the National Weather Service shows that large portions of the state were below freezing for more than 7 continuous days. That might not seem like a lot to those of you in northern climes, maybe even a welcome respite, but in most parts of Texas, it is unheard of.
Yeah,
the state started
we
Sunday with
legitimately
about a quarter
cannot handle
of its
that shit.
total electrical capacity already out of service, mainly due to the weather the week before. These outages were about half wind power and half natural gas generators. Even with that lack of capacity, as night began to fall that Sunday, Texas hit its all-time winter peak electrical demand of nearly 70,000 megawatts, and it met that full demand. The previous peak was 66,000. Everyone in the state was running their heaters to the max trying to stay warm. As the evening continued, though, it became clear to ERCOT and the utilities that the amount of electricity available on the grid may not be able to continue to meet the demand.
No.
An advisory was issued that electrical reserves were low at around 11:30 p.m. Not long after that, generation facility after facility started tripping offline, reducing the capacity to meet the high demand. Texas has a diverse portfolio of power generators. The largest segment of that is natural gas, making up about half of the capacity. The second segment is wind turbines at about 30%. The rest of the generation fleet is made up of coal-powered plants, nuclear plants, and solar farms. This graph shows the outages of each generation type during the winter storm. You can see that wind and natural gas make up the majority of the lost capacity, but no type of power plant was spared during the storm. The most important part of this figure is the natural gas line. Plant after plant went offline to the tune of 15,000 megawatts of capacity within the span of 8 hours. All the details are still coming out about what really happened, but there was a lot that we know went wrong.
I'm just going to skip
Natural
this
gas-
because this is taking too long. It's an alright video. I think I've seen it before. Tommy Lee Jones. I remember him being weirdly popular. Like, it was a thing for some reason that he was, like, super popular in Japan for a while. So, like, he did a bunch of ads in Japan, and I guess this is the one of them. So, this will be wild for those of you that have not seen this before.
この惑星の子供たちと呼ばれる存在には超重要でありんだよそう全身でぶつかっていかなくてはならないもしよかったら付き合って声が小さいただ
教師としてあるまじきそうですよ
この惑星の教育は加減が難しいでも君はいい教師になる缶コーヒーのボスレインボーマウンテン
Boss Coffee is very
welcome
popular.
back. I'm your host, RR Slugger, and today we're going to be talking about set 40650 Land Rover Classic Defender.
What?
However, we're going to be looking at it in a very different way.
Forensic Files? I believe so.
I met Matthew Schifrin, founder and CEO of the nonprofit organization Bricks for the Blind. Through chatting with him, I was introduced to a world I had never given serious thought to. How do visually impaired people interact with LEGO? Moreover, how does LEGO help them interact with the world? Those are big topics, but before we dive into them, let's get some context. Matthew and childhood friend Lilia developed a method of text-based instructions that could be interpreted through a screen reader or braille system. At first, this was just a one-off thing, but they both recognized the potential there, and, well, you know what? Why don't I just let Matthew himself tell you the story?
Bricks for the Blind started, these whole LEGO instructions started on my 13th birthday. And I had a family friend who came over and she said, hey, here's a box. And I said, okay, that's great. And she gave me a box and she gave me a binder. And in the box was a LEGO Prince of Persia set, a Middle Eastern palace. And it was 800 something pieces. And it was a big, big set. And she said, no, you're missing the point. Open the binder, she says. Okay, fine. I opened the binder. And in it are hand-brailled instructions. Why is this important? Because they're brailled on a massive braille typewriter. this is not an easy thing to do. It takes you hours to clack away and make this binder and these instructions. And this binder is big, size of the yellow pages, if not bigger. And I am so
That's cool,
thrilled by this
man.
because I didn't think that I'd ever be able to build a Lego set on my own.
That's fucking cool as
This binder is
shit.
amazing. I sat there and I started building, and this friend, Lila, she wrote out all the instructions, made names for every single piece, and made it so that I could build this set on my own. I spent all day building.
Yeah,
and
it's probably rad as shit.
This massive set, domed Middle Eastern palace with its catapults and barred gates and camel stood there before me on the kitchen table. And as soon as I saw that completed build, I thought, wow, I did this. I did this all by myself. And it was an amazing moment for me because kids, since they're little, they start with Duplo and they graduate to Lego, and it's a very seamless process. And in my case, my dad had started me on Bionicles at 4 or 5.
Sure.
And those were the only sets that I could build on my own, because if you built a single Toa, you could build the other Toa of that series. It was really amazing for me because
That's interesting,
that
though.
first set, I really had an epiphany, and I said to myself, we need to make more of these, and we need to do it now, and we need to do it fast. And then we said, okay, we need to post them somewhere. And we made a website called Lego for the Blind, and we posted all of our sets there. 40, 50 sets, modulars, the Tower Bridge, serious stuff. And as soon as we posted them, we got emails. And the emails were coming in, and they were from blind kids, and they said, hey, I love this. I can build a set on my own.
Yeah.
And could you adapt this and that and the other thing? And then we started getting them from blind parents. And they were saying, hey, you know, I couldn't help my kids with Lego before, but now I can. And it's great. And it's amazing. And thank you so much. And then we started getting them from sighted kids. And the sighted kids were saying, hey, we're not blind, but we love Lego and keep this up. And so we were...
Yeah, I don't know how...
And then Lila got diagnosed with cancer. And while she was going through chemo and radiation, she was still writing. She was still sorting each step into a separate Ziploc and labeling in Braille so I could build quicker. Wow. And after she died, I said to myself, okay, you have a choice. I said, you can either let this project die with her or conclude it. Make it matter.
And make it matter he did. At present, Bricks for the Blind sports over 100...
I think this is great for, like, look, do blind people want to build Legos? I don't know, but give them the option and they'll decide on their own. I think that's great, you know? Like, I don't know, but the thing is, it's just like, yes, of course this is what you do. This is such a cool thing to do. I like this.
Text-based instructions for a variety of Lego sets, big and small. This site
accessibility
has
is good.
empowered blind builders around the world to construct Lego sets independently for the very first time. I was immensely curious about how these instructions worked, so I tried my best to experience them.
Why isn't the company helping? I mean, yeah.
Coach me through my trepidation.
I mean, honestly, Lego is a tactile thing, I think is what you meant. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, and especially with, I was thinking about that with, like, the Taj Mahal, like, the domes and stuff that he was doing. Like, how do you describe the shape of something like that to someone who can't see? You would have to build it. Like, there's this guy that I used to hang with. He was legally blind, and I went over to his place once, and the most interesting thing I found there was three-dimensional sculpture paintings. He would have... They would be more or less flat, but they would be like where you could touch it, and you could feel... And it was like a picture of someone's face. You could feel their face. So it'd be like a painting, but three-dimensional. It's just like, of course, yeah, you would have that. How else are you supposed to see what the art is?
Seriously, take the building experience as it comes. It will definitely be different. One last thing to keep in mind, this may take you multiple hours. Be patient with yourself, and if you get overwhelmed, like, take a break, drink some water. And it'll be interesting also because you've had a little bit of exposure. You've seen the actual box art. So the good thing is you'll kind of know what you're building, and that'll be a plus for you. because you won't be completely in the dark, pardon the pun.
In retrospect, while I appreciate the confidence in my abilities, I have to report that I found this challenge to be very difficult, or rather, more difficult than what I was used to. Donning a blindfold, I did my best not to experience the set beyond the box art. My partner sorted the pieces for me into separate groups according to the instructions. This is a vital step in the process because, as I came to learn, finding the piece you're looking for is very nearly half the battle. With the help of a sighted friend or screen reader, a typical step goes something like this. Locate one medium gray 4x6 plate. Place this, with the long axis running horizontally, onto the center of the build, leaving 4 exposed studs on the front and back of the yellow 2x4 plates underneath. If you're finding...
Can we increase the volume? For sure. That is, I mean, I guess that's about as good.
That hard to follow, you're not alone. Don't worry, this is one of the easier steps in this build. Some of the others put my brain into overdrive as I tried to think and feel my way through them. Without the use of my eyes, I came to realize that the way we normally regard pieces, color, size, type, was actually the opposite of what I wanted. With touch alone, red 2x4 brick is a lot less useful than brick 2x4 red.
Right.
The latter allows me to feel for the type, then worry about the size, and for most visually impaired users, the color is non-essential anyways. For as challenging as I found the instructions, it was the hunting for the pieces to begin with that gave me the most grief.
Is the audio level, are they better now?
This enough. Even though each section limited my brick pool to less than 20 pieces, without the use of my eyes, feeling my way for the few parts I needed sometimes took several minutes. The small baking pan I used for keeping my pieces from running away on me felt unfathomably vast. After a couple of hours of building, I did indeed need a break. When I removed my blindfold and saw just how small this dish was in contrast to how labyrinthian it felt, I was moved to tears. This was a humbling experience for me, to say the least. It gave me insight into building without sight, but also into how building without sight allows a blind person to see the world.
What's crucial for blind kids about these LEGO instructions is the fact that they are teaching them about the world around them. And for a blind kid, you've ridden in a car, but you haven't laid on top of your entire car to get the shaping and the form of it. And you know a car has 4 wheels and you steer with your steering wheel, all this generic stuff you know. But getting insight into the shaping and the approach and just the understanding of this vehicle is important.
Yeah.
And buildings and spaceships and, I don't know, the Millennium Falcon looks like a, quote, depressed pancake, quote, as I called it when I went to LEGO and saw the UCS one. But buildings also, like we've heard about the Statue of Liberty getting destroyed in every single action movie. But the ability to feel it, the ability to understand it all, and the scaling really helps because you're able to, that downscaled minifig scale version really allows you to capture those details that you couldn't do if you climbed that statue yourself.
So let's examine the final product. Set 40650 Land Rover Classic Defender. This model is roughly the...
Okay. Let me give you an example of a situation where generative AI could be cool. Exactly this. I'm feeling a lot better. Thank you, Ghost Cannoli. I don't know what was going on with me yesterday, but I slept for like 18 hours straight and then now I'm fine. No idea. I think I drank too much coffee was part of it. But I totally feel fine today. I think that this could be a use for generative AI. To be able, well, it'd be a little scary. Because the potential for fucking it up could be real. But to be able to convert some of these, like, names... Like they said, like that is something about sign language as well. I mean, obviously, sign language not particularly useful for people who are deaf. But the order that you get the information in is the most relevant order for someone who's deaf. Like, that's the sentence structure. It's like, when is it happening and where is it happening? Hey, what's up, Gear? Could you use generative AI to be able to, like, come up with these? Because, like, there's so many fucking Lego sets, and to be able to convert these instructions into things that, like, people could use seems like a good use of that.
Size of a pound of butter. Measuring 6 by 14 studs, this vehicle can accommodate one minifigure behind the driver's seat with room for storage in the rear. The build has all the hallmarks of a typical car: a roof, windshield.
You'd probably still want some
elongated hood,
oversight,
and 4 wheels
yeah.
with a spare attached to the back. The roof is removable to allow placing the included minifigure inside. There is also a covered section for hauling gear, though the set doesn't contain anything to transport. There are very few studs to be felt, as smooth tile pieces adorn the exterior. All in all, this is a rather sturdy build, and is well suited for play.
I was out for dinner, and the guy behind me was a crypto bro who got rug pulled. Oof. This isn't the first time you've tried to justify generative AI. I'm trying to come up with... Okay, the thing is that I don't hate generative AI. I hate how it's being used and what it's being used for. I think that it could be good for us if we can find good uses for it. Why is YouTube pink now? It's a thing they've done. They've made it so that way it's a gradient. That it's red over here and then pink over at the rightmost side. I don't know why they've changed that. Yeah, I mean, like, and also, like, look, if the Lego company wants to make it that way, yeah, I don't think that we should be using AI for medical shit. That doesn't seem safe. Like, at all, you know? So maybe we don't do that. Finding cancer. I mean, like, yeah, my problem has never been with generative AI. It's only about, like, its use and the training data.
There are a few fiddly bits, such as the rear view mirrors, but overall I was quite happy with the final product.
It's a plagiarism machine,
More
yeah.
than anything, though, I'm thankful for how this set allowed me to see Lego in a very new way. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you want to get involved with Bricks for the Blind, please visit their website.
I think that taxes should just be simplified to the point that we don't have to need AI for them, but, you know, that's me.
If there's someone in your life who could benefit from instructions like these, please share it with them.
A lot of AI has a lot of potential. Generative AI is, yeah. Most of the stuff used in AI is not generative AI. I mean, that's how you get the hallucinations. I love this channel. This is a very good channel because this guy does, like, he does a little bit of kendo, he does a little kenjutsu and aikido and stuff like that. Huge amount of respect for this guy. He reminds me a lot of my sensei, except for less stern. Like, this guy smiles. My sensei, I think I saw him smile once. Are you still taking video recommendations? We're about 500 videos back, so... Hallucinations is a funny buzzword for being wrong. Well, the hallucination thing is describing when it's making shit up because it thinks that's what it's supposed to do. Yeah, the only time I ever saw my sensei, who taught me how to do kendo, the only time I saw him smile was when I begged permission to go to a tournament. And he was like, I think yes. And then he smiled. Because I was... Standard practice is that you don't get to decide if you go to a tournament. You have to ask your sensei if you can go to the tournament. And then he decides whether or not he wants to allow you to represent the dojo. very hierarchical and shit. But you know, it's what it is. I did like my sensei. My sensei taught me. Did I win? I did not win the tournament. I did very well though. I only won one tournament. The other ones that the other one I took part in, I tied. I won one fight, but it wasn't enough to win the whole thing.
This is probably the closest technique to our unique parry techniques in our Ryuha, Asemi Shinryu.
Like, for me, my respect came from, like, at that time in my life, and I think still now, is that if you demand authority from me, or if you demand respect from me, I will not give it to you. If you earn my respect, you have it. And that man definitely earned my respect, because he trained like a fucking badass. He was so goddamn hardcore about it. And it's really hard to understate how hardcore he was about that shit. And that is exactly the kind of person that I would want to teach me.
皆さんこんにちは and welcome to Let's Ask Six Sensei. I'm your host Shogo from Let's Ask Shogo, and this is Six Sensei. Six Sensei, 本日もよろしくお願いします。お願いします。
Wait, I want to see what his Kindle rank is. Wow. Yeah. Aedo 8th Dan, Kendo 5th Dan. That is pretty fucking good. Like, yeah, okay.
こちらですね。
10th Dan is the highest, and you can't get it anymore because you have to be trained. Someone at that rank has to be able to tell you that you are worthy of that rank, and literally no one left alive is worthy of that rank. So he's good. Yeah, he's 5th. So 5 out of 10, more like 5 out of 7 ranks. I only got up to 1st Dan. So this guy, and I don't think that it's just like 5 times better. Do I just post in chat? I mean, you can, but I mean, also just be aware that like we have 438 videos minus 4 to get through before we'll watch any of the videos.
ロングソードです。どう使っていいかわかんない。そうなんですよ。そう。全然ちょっとロングソードと刀全く違うもので。
So it's you got a bit of a weight going on.
関先生はヒーマンについてどうお考えですかっていう実は意見が出ました。Six Sensei is a Kobudo master with more than 40 years of experience in training with Japanese katana. However, none of us have any experience with Western swords. But I thought it might be interesting to hand a long sword to Six Sensei, who doesn't know anything about it, and see how he would try to use it. So today, Six Sensei, 22nd headmaster of Kobudo,
I gave Chatter's priority. Okay, cool.
Try fighting with a longsword with
Thank
zero
you,
experience
Shadow,
and
by the way.
knowledge. I hope this video will be interesting for anyone training with longswords to see what a katana master would think of doing with a longsword. However, again, we have no experience with Hima and longswords, so if we were making any mistakes or have any misunderstandings, please let us know in the comments. By the way, tickets for a 3-day training camp in Japan by Six Sensei and Let's Ask Shogo are now on sale. Check out our Patreon page for more information. So then, let's get started. After Six Sensei swung the longsword around in the dojo for a while, there was something he wanted to say immediately.
Yeah. Didn't we watch this one? Do you have depression when you had Kendo? Yeah, I've had depression my whole life. But Kendo is good physical work, you know? I believe I've seen this one before, and I think that his beef, if I recall correctly, is that so with Kendo, like the handguard obviously on katanas is a lot smaller. Right? And you're less likely to hit yourself in the head with it.
ですよね。音がすごいですね。
こう危ない。
あ、確かに。 For katana users, the handguard that stretches to the side is something that we are not used to. If you try to swing it like a katana, the handguard hits your head and shoulders. So Sisase has a question for any longsword trainees watching this video.
I think Kendo is good for my life. I think that martial arts that are legitimate, as in like what I learned from Kendo was like more like strength of character shit, to like be like, all right, we're gonna just like, we're gonna like go in and we're gonna take this damage, we're gonna like, you know, I think it just set me with a certain mindset. It was interesting seeing a longsword user react. That is interesting.
From our point of view, we would want the handguard to be stretching in the direction of the sharp edge. Why is it in this direction, and how should we handle it correctly? Are we doing something wrong? But there was one part that he liked very much.
Yeah. You always look very happy and nostalgic when you talk about Kendo. Maybe you should take it up again. I think the idea of it was less about, it was a good moment in my life. It was regimented training which allowed me to take a feature of myself that I already had, which was stubbornness, and turn it into like determination and drive. And I would say I use that more than actual Kendo skills. Like that is good to be able to temper that potentially bad emotion into a good one.
Because the end of the hilt is slightly larger, you can throw thrust the sword forward and it stops in your hand. This is actually a technique you can do with the katana too. We'll make a video about that soon. Then let's have Skeleton.
It is easier with the pummel though.
See how you could fight against the katana. The various obvious difference between a longsword and a katana is, for example, using the maki techniques we've introduced before is very difficult without a curve. Other typical techniques like ukenagashi and hitting the katana away worked, but
it was also presumably it was my phys ed choice in high school. Because I was homeschooled, I needed to have some physical like education shit on my resume, so that way they wouldn't think that I'm just sitting on my ass all day. So that's what I ended up deciding to use as my thing. I'm also like still messing with the shaders because I'm like, woo, pretty.
Sensei was constantly surprised by how long the sword could reach. However, when he tried half swording, we found a problem.
Yeah.
The handguard got caught in the opening of the kimono. There are various theories.
Put the shaders in the corner.
Another reason why the Tsuba handguards of Japanese katana are round. But because
here, hold on. Yeah, here, if I do, let's see, transform, add, window capture, shader. All right, add text. Rev's ADD has him making this shader. Put a shader over Subway Racers. I mean, it literally is like Subway Racers. Like, there's something wrong with my brain. It currently looks like a cool, like, Tool music video.
Tsuba is round,
hello, boy.
do
Come
as
on
much
up.
guarding as a longsword.
ただ受けんのには安定するねガンとこうこれ絶対安定する 刀のつばより全然安定しますね。
全然安定するね。
It is more stable than
You
a
could do something similar
Tsusuba.
with the katana, but it wouldn't be so stable. After trying various techniques with the longsword, there was something that Six Sensei realized.
これでさ、こう使うと反りがないけど、こう使えば使えるのかな？こう平で。
Yeah. He likes that bit. I forgot about that.
If you flip the sword and use the wide side of the blade, you can parry the opponent's sword. This is probably the closest technique to our unique parry techniques in our Ryuha, Asami Shinryu. Then, if this is possible, Six Sensei thought up another technique you might be able to use.
これね、平で叩けるかもしれない。平で叩いてこうやって。平で叩いてこうやって。日本刀だったら刃でやるのね。刃でやって。
Does this work?
これ平でね、平で叩いてこうやる。ほら。
Boy.
ほら。勝手にそれていく。勝手にそれていく。
If you try to use this technique from the Jodan upper stance, you must make some adjustments.
こうなっちゃうけどね。こうなっちゃうけどね。だから引いて使おうか。
I mean, yeah, you're gonna bonk
ちょ
the.
っと突きになるから。こう。おー。こう。
He's so happy about his sword thing.
あ、なかなかいい。
ちょっといいところが、ちょっといいところに疲れましたね。
平に当ててこうするっていうのがなかなかいい。
おー、いい発見ですね。
Thanks to Six Sensei realizing this technique, he started to like the longsword very much. Then from here, Tsukara-san will hold the longsword instead to see how Six Sensei will fight against it with a katana.
Put the shader behind chat.
After trying out a variety of techniques, there was something that Six Sensei realized.
そっか、これね、真ん中にしのぎ立ってっからだ。案外とそれちゃう。
あー、なるほど。
だからこう当てがう。
Yeah, the balance point.
でもスパーンってしまうんですね。
で、こう当てがうと。
This is like the. That is like the easy way
to the ridges on the blade, because
of
the
parrying.
of the longsword is in the middle of the blade.
Right.
There are two sides where the blade could get parried away, which is much more easily parried than a katana if you use our Asami Shinryu techniques.
合わせない方がいいけんだね。
Yeah, you just bonk.
ブンブンくる。ね、合力でブンブンくるっていうのがいい。
I mean, that looks right.
やりやすいね。日本刀を合わせる。
The way he was swinging right there does look more like something you would do with a longsword.
In traditional Japanese kenjutsu, effectively using the shinogi to block, parry, and attack is very important.
So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. 僕自身も初めて実は見たというか持ってみたというか、日本刀の方の特徴であったりとか技術を再確認できたので、
僕はこれ気になっちゃった。
そうですね。
使い方
ここですね。
それで気になっちゃった。
はい。そこをぜひもたくさんやってらっしゃる方が
そうですよね。教えてください。
はい、ご教示いただけたらなというふうに思いま
The
す。
shader behind the chat would be cool.
Video of Six Sensei trying out the longsword. Please let us know in the comments about what we should do next. And our goal is to achieve 150 members on our online lessons. If you're interested in learning the Asami Shinryu techniques from Six Sensei, please take a look at the description box. では先生、改めまして誠にありがとうございました。ありがとうございます。Everyone, thank you so much for watching this video. 皆さんどうもありがとうございました。Want to learn EI and Kenjutsu skills from Kodo Master Seki Nobita Sensei? Our online lessons have perfect English interpretation and are accessible to anyone worldwide.
Neat. All right. Hey, what the fuck is this shit? Why do you give me cool sword guy and then this? What is this rank ass shit? See, like, this is what I'm talking about with God's Gang. Like, I know this came out in 2005 and not 2024, but like, no one really actually thought this looks good, right? Like, this sucks, right? Yeah?
I love riding the trains. Me too. Oh, yeah. And we got here so fast. Sure beats driving in LA. Check it out. Come on, move it. Move it, lady. Come on. You're right, Jay. No one's going anywhere anytime soon. Rush hour. Totally lame.
So how are we gonna get to Gerald's house now, Billy?
I don't know. Beats me. How about taking the freeway?
What the fuck?
So slow, they're handing out tickets for illegal parking.
But we'll use the emergency lane. Hey, I know. What if we all jam on my skateboard? Too dangerous. On the sidewalk?
Too far, Billy.
Hey, I bet Jose knows a shortcut.
Where the fuck did you go? Are you back?
Arts District, and he's meeting us any minute. I don't know. Maybe this was a bad idea. Besides, if we ever get to Gerald's house,
We'll have to turn around and go home.
maybe you're right. Check out that bus.
That's from the 40s.
Too bad it's not running anymore. We get on and cruise all the way to Gerald's.
All aboard!
Oh, how I wish that you could be the little motor coach that could. That's not gonna happen.
What the fuck?
Not in this lifetime.
Why not? I'll take you where you want to go.
Huh?
How?
See that orange tree?
Yeah.
Give it a couple of really good shakes, okay?
Okay.
Tell him to put his soul into
The
it.
bus says.
I heard him.
Come on, Billy.
The bus says to do a thing? Why are you doing what a bus tells you to do?
Guys, let's go.
Sport.
What happens next?
Take the orange and drop it down my smokestack.
Hey, we'd get there faster riding a magic carpet.
Jay, or I'll squeeze you into pulp. Fiction, got it? Okay, here goes, everybody. And this is for luck.
Oh. Whoa.
Hi, kids.
Hi. Sweet. Who are you?
Metroliner, the Valley's new shortcut.
You need a new home.
Whoa.
Thanks.
Metroliner, you're the boss. Can you take us to Gerald's?
Of course. Where's he live?
Woodland Hills?
All aboard.
Before we all get carried away, how do you plan getting to Woodland Hills from North Hollywood? That's 14 miles.
Jay's right. What kind of abracadabra are you gonna do on LA
Billy,
traffic?
hold on.
Quiet.
What kind of bullshit can you do to actually fix LA traffic? Where there's so many streetlights? They had those assets, then they're gonna fucking use them. There's so much clipping. Yeah, they don't give a shit. Like, whatever's going on with these animations.
Yeah, dude.
These are pre-made animations that they've just
And if there's
connected.
An accident, you get bonus hours of sucking carbon monoxide.
What?
Come on, guys, let's go.
Billy, roll your orange as far as you can. That way, down the red car line. See where the old tracks ran? Follow them. Welcome to the Orange Line.
See, Billy, I told you. Oh, Metroliner, I knew you could do it.
Where's Jose?
Probably stuck in traffic.
What's wrong with your fingers, dude?
I'm coming. Wait for me. Jose, don't do it. Uh-oh. You ignored the warning signs. No riding bikes or playing on the busways. Don't cross the box.
These are special roadways for Metroliners and Metro buses only.
What the fuck is this? Who put this here?
To use the bike lane or the pedestrian path, but you sure didn't use your brains.
Dude, you could have been squished like a bug. Squashed.
Squimshed.
You do that again, and I'll donate your body to science. Fiction.
All aboard.
What?
Ooh, this is awesome. We're riding in comfort and style. Woodland Hills. Metroliner.
On the way, can we stop by the Japanese gardens?
Sure. That's one of my 12 station stops between North Hollywood and Warner Center.
Hey, my dad works there.
Is this like a... I don't know anyone who lives in Hollywood. Is this like a real line? Was this... Who made this? Los Angeles Metropolitan Transport Authority. Okay.
There, in one of those high rises.
What about Van Nuys? My uncle works at the government center.
Sure. From any Orange Line station, you can connect to Metro Rapid, Metro Local, or other Valley buses.
Oh, Gerald, have him meet us at Balboa Park for a barbecue, softball, the lake, or golf at Woodley.
Next stop, Laurel Canyon. Clear the busway. You're blocking the orange line. Don't cross the box. Hold on, everyone.
Stop! How dare you?
It's your fault. Shame on you. That was really careless.
And selfish. What's so important?
It's worth waiting for the light to change.
I did nothing wrong. I'm in a hurry.
Excuse me, sir, but you did run a red light. A left turn arrow, and...
Blocked an intersection and a busway. You violated the law. Ignore traffic signals, warning lights,
Bart News
and posted
Anime?
signs.
What?
Unfortunately, there's no ticket for stupidity. But there's...
What? Honestly, this sucks less than I... God, holy shit, she's tall. Why was this made? Like, this seems fine, actually, yeah. Like, voiced by To Be Determined. Like, yeah, it's kind of cute, actually. They're trying to be hip with the kids, and it looks fine.
All aboard.
It's better than this.
Guys, let's go. Hey guys, wait up! Hey, don't leave without me!
Here comes Gerald.
Okay, he's at midfield. The 40, the 30. What a run! Folks, this is amazing. Woo, they almost got him. What a move.
That was close.
He's at the 10, 5, touchdown! Woo, he made it! Wait, there's no signal from the referee.
That's right. We're gonna check instant replay. There's a flag on the play. Illegal procedure on Gerald. No touchdown.
What the fuck?
Everyone knows. A picture's worth 1,000 words.
You almost lost the game of your life.
Rules are rules. They save lives. Got it?
Don't take shortcuts getting to the station. And don't run after the bus.
They're right, Gerald. Remember, there's
You'd fucking
always
die.
another bus.
Who are you? This is the Metroliner.
Cruising down the street. Now it's going westbound.
Now it's headed east.
Now the bell is ringing. Now the bass are low. What a lot of fun it is everywhere it goes. This is the Metroliner cruising down the street. Running across the valley. Never skips a beat. From Rudy Hills to NoHo. It's Warner and DeSoto. Pierce, Taparesita. Balboa, Woodley, Sepulveda. Van Nuys or Woodman or Valley College Station. Laurel Canyon or Hollywood's an orange line sensation. Now the bell is ringing. Now the bass horn blows. What a lot of fun it is everywhere it goes.
That sucks.
Experiment 1. An experiment was carried out to illustrate the effects of brainial stimulation. For this experiment, we're going to stimulate a small area of our subject's brain known as the brobe.
The brobe?
Using a hand drill, a small hole is formed at the base of Nigel's skull.
Okay.
You don't have to be a brain surgeon to operate on the brain, but you will need some training. After all, you'd hardly call out a hairdresser to fix your carburetor. Now, a thin probe is slowly inserted into our hole so that the probe probes the brobe.
So the probe probes
Observe
the probe.
reaction and note the results down in your copybook. At first,
why are you doing
Nigel
this?
appears to experience some discomfort.
Yeah.
But this soon gives way to a feeling of elation. And as we force the probe in deeper, it induces this reaction. A feeling of wanting to sneeze, but being completely unable to.
Why'd you do this to him?
If you're trying this experiment for yourself, do be aware that the effect is often permanent. Write that down in your copybook now.
That's great. What now? This came out the year I was born. Yeah, Look Around You is a meme series. They thought they were the shit for these graphics back in the day. This music is very like... Math books used to look like this. You would just get like a physics book and this would be the cover, and it's just like... Cool! Yeah, they're really just like wild 3D textures. I love them, you know? I love this corny, weird shit like this. I mean, yeah, just twirl your tits around your body as fast as you can. It's fun. I did watch Reboot growing up. They're remaking it, or they're doing like a revamp of it or something. Like, it's a fan project, so it'll actually be probably okay.
Master, it was a stormy night when a bolt of lightning forced me off
Turbo
the road.
Teen?
My car skidded into a government laboratory where a top-secret experiment was underway. I swerved into the path of Dr. Chase's molecular transfer ray, causing me and my car to become one. the incredible Turbo Team.
What? What the actual shit? They were really just going for anything back in the day, weren't they? I think we need some like colorize, combined, decompose. Yeah, they're probably just shooting whatever they could out there. Just be like, I don't fucking know. Something, man. The Rubik's Cube? Rubik's Cubes seem like a thing I should have been into as a kid, but I wasn't for some reason.
Caution. Children should not attempt to carve without adult supervision. Please exercise extreme caution when handling knives. The producers and distributors of this program are not responsible for injury resulting from procedures described or demonstrated in this video. Please carve carefully.
Wasn't this on Red Letter Media? I'm sure it was.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm Gordy Falk. And this Halloween, I want to teach you how to carve a few really innovative, neat jack-o'-lanterns, simply and easily.
Okay.
About 8 years ago, I started carving pumpkins, and it got a little out of hand. I carved between 500 and 800 different pumpkins every Halloween.
Oh, okay.
So that's about 4,000 pumpkins in the last 8 years. I learned a few simple, innovative tricks, common sense type things that anybody who has done as many as I have would have thought of to make pumpkin carving simpler, more creative, and more fun.
If you own a Rubik's Cube, you either know how to solve one single face or you're god at it. Yeah, I can do one. I need a stem toy. My current stem toy is this Slinky that I'm fucking with. That and the thing I'm fucking with in the background. Like it needs to be, yeah, and then maybe this gets like randomly shifted. Yeah, I think we want to have like a translate. Oh, I see. Yeah, it needs to go there. And then this needs to go here. Is that right? There we go.
If you come with me now.
We should unironically do some sort of census. Would you guys like to do a census? Because I could make one of those here real quick. But I'm not sure what we would all put in there. Also, there's an ad going right now. Why not? Might be fun. All right. How do I make like a multiple choice quiz like that to get those results? Twitter said something went wrong, but it's not your fault. I'm aware. Set up a PO box. What if Twitter blamed, like... looks like they didn't ban me. There should be a website. Kind of waiting for the ad to be over as well. I'm not sure if it is. Okay, there it is. Now it's over. Google poll using emotes. Yeah, I'm relatively certain that you guys are all neurodivergent as well. I think there's something wrong with all of us positive. Try forms for work. Don't have an account. I do have an account, actually. Can I just go into Google Forms here? Blank form. Ah, here we go. All right. Rev's weird sus form. What? You might want to let this one play in the background because it's 30 minutes. I'm running out of screen space to do things with. The cum book, yeah, that's good. You need 4 screens. Hoktua tolerance. All right. Sexuality. Option 1. Hetero. 2. Homo. Wait. What happened to hetero? Okay. Bi/pan, or are we making bi and pan 2 different things? Need a "what are you, a cop" answer for all questions. Pan is, I mean, like, for me, bi and pan are kind of... I'm not particularly sure what the difference is at this point. Would ace be in here? Because, like, ace is like... Because you could be heterosexual and asexual, right? Wait. Is that right? The difference is that the bi flag is better. I agree. Who's attracted to bread? I'm attracted to making bread. God damn it. Ace. You can have romantic attraction, but no sexual. So then we should have another one that's the same thing, but this one is like... Arrow Ace gets complicated. I know I fucked this up last time. Because, like, I'm asexual towards men. Asexual is, like, the opposite of bisexual, as far as I understand it. Like, does that make sense? Or am I full of shit? Also, I think I've got something screwed up here. Where's the chat? Chat. Chat window. There we go. Nah, it's a little bit better. Where's the super gay option? I would assume that, like, everyone's on some level of gay. Gays like men. Yeah, exactly. So do I need to have a separate one for... Okay. Did you read Homestuck before me? Yes. No. I read it because of you. Homestuck can't be yes or no. It is. Did you read Homestuck before I did? What if you only read half of it before giving up? Sure. I have no idea. Okay, how about yes, I read it multiple times? Yes, I read most of it, but then stopped. How about some? Some of it. Are you trying to turn a spectrum into a binary? Yeah, I don't think Ace really works as a... You think there's a Twitch-based... Well, the problem with Twitch-based census is that I can't include the people on YouTube, and also... Yeah, that's pretty much it, actually. Okay, yeah, I could just ask the questions on Discord. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so Discord people, I'll just ask in, like, general chat. Alternatively, I could do it. Do we have polls? We have a poll section, right? Hey, want to do a poll? So we got art sale, archives and testing, stream, rules, mod chat. Okay. I don't really know how I'd do this. How you guys heard of me would be good too. Like, I think the Google form is probably better for this. Because I don't know how okay. Like, how do I ask if they're gay? Like, I don't want to just be like, you guys gay? React using images or emotes. Yeah, see, I should just do this with Google Forms. I don't know what all the questions that y'all need. Yeah, that'd be great, Tring Master. Throw in some memes shit in there too. You are gay. Why are you gay?
we'll get started. We're going to carve a few pumpkins, show you the tricks, and have a lot of fun. Shall we go?
Why this music?
We've got a nice little 5-pound pumpkin here. And the first thing we have to do is get the top off. Most people make an elemental mistake. The pumpkin is a great, big, huge piece of God's creation. And they want a great, big, huge knife. And they reach in the drawer and pull out something that you could probably win the Peloponnesian Wars with. Now, you pick a knife like this, you are doomed to carve straight lines. Because, and we'll use the back side of this pumpkin, which is the practice side, you stick it in and you cannot make a turn.
I'm sorry, did you just stab the shit out of that?
Now, you pick a knife like this, you are doomed to carve straight lines. Because, and we'll use the back side of this pumpkin, which is the practice side, you stick it in.
Pretty impressive. Good stab.
And you cannot make a turn. It is a straight line.
Why is this video 30 minutes long?
This goes for detopping, and we'll get more into the selection of knives.
The kind of knife you have determines whether or not you top or not? Okay. Playback speed.
For the actual face itself a little later on, you want to pick one of the skinniest knives in your drawer. This knife is a fruit knife. It's sharpened on both sides. It is very narrow from front to back, and it costs about $1.79 in most grocery stores. It does a beautiful job of detopping and also carving. I'll be using this knife most of the day. We'll again go on the practice side here, and you can see how easy this goes in and how you can make nice curves with it. This is a good way to make the top. Stick it in. Now you notice while I'm carving, the knife is in at about a 45-degree angle. You don't want to go down like this because when you get your top off and you put it back on, it'll disappear into the insides. You want to make sure that the top, when it rests on it, has a place to rest. When I get around to where the top started, I make a little bit of a curly cue. You can carve a square, or there's any number of ways to do it. This just seems to be a nice, easy way. And the top goes back on and almost falls right into the spot. You can see. You can make them square, triangular, hexagonal, any way you want. They all work. This is just the way that I do it, and I find it clean and simple. And now we have the top off. We're ready to hollow it out. All right. We got the top off.
The music.
And we're ready to take out the insides. Some people would rather slaughter a cow than take the insides out of a pumpkin, but it's really pretty easy if you know a few tricks. The object, again, is pick the right tool. I use an old spoon with a wood handle, a nice stiff shaft, and it works pretty well. It works a lot better than putting your hands inside and getting all gunked up. It's not necessary. What I do is make a scraping motion along the sides, and in a minute or two, it's done. You're making the same motion the entire time. You're just rotating the pumpkin around and around and down and down. And if you have any luck at all, at the end, you get to the bottom, you scrape sideways, straight down, because that's where it's attached to. And you got it all in one nice big lump. And, Lord willing, pumpkin is...
Lord willing?
Almost clean. We didn't say you could do this in a suit, but it's good enough to carve. In your drawer, most of you will have a paring knife. A normal knife, fairly thin. It works pretty well. An attractive face is one with curves, just like yours. There's not a straight line on any human being's face. It's all ovals, curves, S-shapes, and that's what makes the personality of a pumpkin.
Okay.
This is probably the #1 knife that I use, and it can be bought in any store. This knife is about 4 or 5 inches long, relatively thin, and this is important. It is sharp on both ends. This is another good knife. You can find similar knives, not the same one. This knife right here has carved 2,000 or 3,000 pumpkins in about the last 8 years. It's flexible.
Your streams managed to be more gay than furry streamers I watch, and that's impressive. I think that there's like... I think gay people are attracted to weird, grumpy old men. Because I noticed that Northern Lion is also really popular amongst the gays. So like, I think that there's something to that. Toxic old man yaoi is a thing for a reason. Yeah. I have a few gay friends that are attracted to Walter White. Does Germa count? I think Germa does count, yeah. Huh.
Skinny from the sharp end to the butt end, and it is not exceedingly sharp. It doesn't need to be. If it's thin enough, it'll go through the pumpkin quite easily. Here's another knife that'll work well. It might be in your drawer, and it is also skinny and flexible. We want to practice on a part of the pumpkin that we're not going to use. A good place to practice is on the back. Most pumpkins, you can tell what the back is by where it was laying on the ground when it was growing. Here's one. You can see it's got a little few blemishes, etc. When we picked this one out
hello,
earlier,
boy.
it was full
Come
of
on
black
up
dirt.
into this lap.
The best place for the face is generally opposite the part where the pumpkin.
I don't care about this guy's video anymore.
I see you're applying for a name change. I don't understand. Everybody loves you. You're a terrific antiperspirant. Evidence says you contain one of the most effective anti-wetness ingredients. Your new powder fresh scent smells great. Your quality, you're an unbeatable value. Tussie, why change your name? I'd be proud of it. Was denied.
Tussie, an unusual name for a great antiperspirant.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you a toy which I devised about 20 years ago with a neighbor.
Gotta have that toy, Tussie. You gotta love that Tussie. Don't you want your Tussie to be dry? I don't. Oh. Hi. Hi. What a good boy.
Meredith, he was a Punch and Judy man, clown and circus person, and both he and I agree that this particular toy is probably the best thing we've ever done together. Probably the best thing we've ever had in our collections. I show it all the time at parties, and he at shows, so this is the item. There's a nice bit of science in this, incidentally. It shows a lovely demonstration of kinetic energy emerging from potential energy. Inside the toy is a lot of potential energy, and it emerges in the most spectacular way as kinetic energy. Here it is in a big cylinder. Take off the bottom, take off the top, and what will happen? Something fairly dramatic.
Grand.
Phew! What a mess. What fun. And then,
aw, Grandpa.
with a different type of covering to the pieces. But for this one, I thought I'd show what happens if the springs are not fighting gravity. Put it on my shoulder like a bazooka, and this will come out really fast.
Nice.
Just like a bazooka. So many kids have had this on their shoulder and gone, whoo, do it again, do it again. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What an adorable channel. Old man plays with toys that are too big. Laser tag skateboarding commercial. This seems like a bad idea. It seems cool as shit though.
You're late, rookie.
Very 80s, 90s. Dude, is this Crossfire? Fuck yes! What?
Laser tag. It's hotter than ever. From Worlds of Wonder.
Wait, what the fuck did that have to do? Okay, that was cool as shit. And I personally think that we should bring back laser tag skateboarding because it's awesome. And I think that we should replace it with, instead of laser tag, we should make it either airsoft or paintball. Imagine Tony Hawk doing paintball. Just do it like 920 into like a headshot. Dude, legitimate like 360 headshot action. This is fucking awesome. Fuck you. I love this. I want a whole movie about this. Are you kidding me? Well, there's a cool thing you can do with, you know how there's like those glow-in-the-dark paints for just like little bouncy balls and stuff? They make, that's Tron? Yeah, I know I just reinvented Tron. I don't care. You just invented Tron on a skateboard. No, these guys did, and I'm just saying we should keep that up because that's fucking cool. But there are fluorescent airsoft bullets.
This is the story of the Pro Tour winning deck that literally bored its opponents to death.
Can I take a nap or something?
I've seen the
Is that enough? Cycle. Please.
Yeah.
When Core Set 2013 released back in 2012, most players were hyped about the raw power of the Dragon Thundermaw Hellkite, the jaw-dropping freeness of Omniscience, and the return of popular planeswalkers like Nicole Bolas and Garruk Primal Hunter. Little did they know that one card, a card that generated relatively little hype when it first released, would go on to create a modern deck that would literally bore opponents to death at the Pro
Their
Tour.
narrator has the jelly bean gummy rubiot. Yeah, I'm still not over the fact that he was there on January 6th. It's fucking insane shit. I can't deal with it. Yeah, I know. I know. It's on his channel. Look it up. It's so fucking weird.
This card was Face Reward, a 4-mana instant that returns to the battlefield all of your permanents that were put from the battlefield to the graveyard during the turn. Sure, there was a spoiler thread for the card on MTG Salvation, where players rightly pointed out that it was basically another second Sunrise, except it wouldn't accidentally help your opponent by returning their stuff to play. And some players even posted their incredibly janky looking standard Bruce around the card, looking to sacrifice their entire board to Drosshopper or Demon Male Harbrick with a Blood Artist on the battlefield. And
Okay, yeah, so you sacrifice a bunch of shit, and then you use Faith's Reward to bring everyone back. Cool. So basically get the benefits of sacrificing people, which is damage, upgrading your guys, all that kind of shit. I mean, this seems like a white-black deck, yeah.
then use Face Reward to return everything back to play and repeat the process. But in general, Face Reward wasn't a card that most players spent much time thinking about, but that was before it would be instrumental in creating the boringest and perhaps most miserable Pro Tour winning deck of all time, in Eggs. The name Eggs is actually a callback to a cycle of uncommons from Odyssey, artifacts that could sacrifice themselves to produce mana and
Yeah,
draw
sure, I remember
cards.
these.
Although the actual eggs aren't really relevant to our story since none of them were in the Eggs deck or even legal in Modern for that matter. As I mentioned before, Face Reward was basically another version of Second Sunrise. You'd pay one more mana for the effect, but you wouldn't accidentally return any of your opponent's things to play.
Sure.
As has often happened in Magic's history, this newfound redundancy, essentially being able to play 8 copies of Second Sunrise in your deck instead of just 4,
Right.
offered enough consistency to build a deck around the effect, which caught the eye of Magic Pro Stanislav Sifka.
The question is,
Perhaps
what are you
not as
doing
well
with
known
this?
as LSV or Brian Kibler, popular, perhaps in part because Sifka was really more of a gamer than just a Magic player, being an FIDE chess master, a professional poker player, and at one point the #1 ranked Hearthstone player in the world.
Hi guys, welcome. It's Stan, and today's video is gonna be a little bit special because today I'll answer the questions I've promised to answer in my YouTube video. First question. Stan, did you play any other game before Hearthstone? So basically, like, my life was about gaming the whole time. When I was a young kid,
play it at a ludicrous speed. Yeah, let's go a little bit faster.
And I thought like I will be the chess professional. I was playing it extremely competitively. I played the junior world championships and this sort of stuff. When I was 18, like, the poker was booming and everyone was playing it, and like, you know, going and play to casino, it was like, you know, harvesting the money.
Here comes the money. Here we go. Money talks. Here comes the money.
Out of the field. So that's what I was doing. And after that, I was playing Magic the Gathering, so now I'm playing Hearthstone. Maybe I will play something else in the future as well.
Sifka was widely considered to be one of the strongest players in the world at the time. Pro Tour Return to Ravnica was on the horizon just a few months after the release of Core Set 2013, and Sifka and his teammates put their efforts into building the perfect deck for Second Sunrise and Face Reward. In the weeks leading up to the event, a few players, with a Magic Online player going by Spokes being the most prominent, posted finishes with Second Sunrise and Face Reward combo on Magic Online, but the archetype was mostly considered to be a meme. The plan of the deck was to overload with cheap artifacts that could sacrifice themselves, either to make mana like Lotus Bloom.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Or draw cards like Chromatic Sphere, Chromatic Star, Conjurer's Bauble, and Elsewhere Flat.
What does Conjurer's Bauble do again? Because I know I had one of it. Sacrifice the bauble, put one target card from your graveyard on the bottom of your library. Okay. You're cooking, but I don't know what you're cooking. Lotus Bloom suspends 3/0. Rather than play this card from your hand, you could pay 0 to remove it from the game with 3 time counters on it. Okay, so you can got it. So you can wait 3 turns to get it for free? Oh, this doesn't actually have a cost. You can't just play this. You have to do the suspend for 3 turns. So you put it out for free and you just go, 3 turns from now, I'll have a thing that I can sacrifice for 3 mana of any one color. Okay, cool. And when it gets removed and put back into play, then it doesn't have to do the thing. So it's just 3 mana of your choice anytime you want it. Sacrifice Chromatic Sphere, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, draw a card. Okay, good. You need 3 turns to cheat it out, and it's a Black Lotus, but you can get it back infinitely with the combo he's got. The Chromatic Sphere, we also need to look at it. Chromatic Star. Draw cards, gain mana. Cool. Seeing a theme here. Draw cards. Put a card onto the bottom of your library. When it comes into play, draw a card. When you sacrifice it, choose a basic land type. Each land you control becomes that type. I'm not really sure why you would need that. But okay. And then what? Is he getting the mana sped out faster somehow? Yeah, he's playing these and then he keeps using them. So, like, the downside of Lotus Bloom is it's a one-off, and you have to wait 3 turns to do it. But if you can make it come back after you use it each time and cheat it out some way, which you could probably do if you just get it into the graveyard, and then you could pull it from the graveyard somehow. Not sure how yet. Ghost Quarter could be really silly, sure.
Of Ghost Quarter in its mana base, but it wasn't to destroy its opponent's lands, but to destroy its own lands, to thin basic lands out of the deck. I
think there's definitely a way of playing it without having to wait for the waiting cost. I don't know what it is because I haven't seen the other cards, but there's some way of putting it from your graveyard, I would assume, to the battlefield. It's just that combo, I don't know what. There's a lot of ways of cheating it in.
Artifacts on the battlefield.
I mean, honestly, whenever I try and make combos for bad Magic the Gathering, all I'm doing is I'm just like, I'll Google magic card that has XYZ effect that I need, you know? So it's like, Magic card that draws cards. Yeah. And you'll find something. And then I find really cool stuff, I'll just save it for later.
You go score to yourself as much as possible.
Oh, you guys are getting an ad. Okay. Sorry. I'm gonna work on the shader for a second because I'm having really bad, like, I want to do all of the things today. This one is the square root of the two. Exponential, cosine, multiply. I think multiply or divides probably. Oh, what is that? I don't like the square. Let's do times. And then I was fairly certain that there was one that was like a circle. Don't remember what it was called. Ad's over, we can go back to the video.
Draw cards and make mana with the Lotus Blooms, and then you use Face Reward or Second Sunrise to return all the permanents back into play. And then you'd repeat the process. Each time you go score to yourself, you'd have one less land in your deck that you could draw, increasing your odds of drawing more copies of Second Sunrise and Face Reward and artifacts that can draw you even more cards. Plus, you'd be drawing into more copies of Chromatic Sphere and Chromatic Star.
Yeah, okay, so this deck would be really fucking boring, actually, to play against, because it has a lot of actions that you have to do that take time, that require shuffling. This is like almost like slow play, but different. Thank you for the 40 bits, Glassbrain. It was 3 hours ago. What did you say? Do you go to the bathroom of a nice restaurant and all the urinals and toilets are shaped like porcelain mouths with big lips? Do you ever go to that restaurant again? Yeah.
And Conjurer's Bauble, so every time you go through the loop of sacrificing your whole
Why do you think
board
I'm
and then
there?
returning it to play with Second Sunrise or Face Reward, you generate a little bit more value. And then you'd repeat the process again. You could argue that the deck's primary win condition was boring opponents to death until they eventually just conceded the match, but the deck did have one card that could actually get the opponent's life total down to 0 if it needed to, a single copy of Pyrite Spellbomb.
Oh my god. Yeah, that would do it. You would just have to activate it 10 times. How are you getting, Wait, how are you getting the bring shit back from the graveyard card back? Because that's an instant. That's a one... There's a way to shuffle cards back in your deck with the bauble. That's what you're putting on the bottom of your deck. So that way you can redraw it, and then you use scry and shit in order to put it back on the top. Okay.
So right now, Stanislav's
6 and 6, he says.
Hand is larger than his library. His graveyard, I believe, is also larger than his library.
How did you finish? First button. I just didn't get it.
So you basically said he's had enough. He wants to see how the game ends, but he hasn't conceded yet. He's just wondering how do you kill me?
What are we looking for here? Well, how will I know I'm dead?
And Sif goes, you'll see it. Just wait. There's one in here.
What an asinine deck.
And you just says, all right, I understand. I see how this works.
After you draw through your entire deck, you could use Conjurer's Bauble to keep putting Second Sunrise back into your deck, and then immediately draw it, and then you would use it to loop Pyrite Spellbomb with mana from the Lotus Bloom to eventually very slowly deal infinite damage to your opponent. With his build finalized, Sifko registered his deck for Pro Tour Return to Ravnica, a metagame full of classic modern decks like Jund and Affinity, and proceeded to very, very slowly crush the rest of the field. In a Magic the Gathering Pro Tour, there are 16 rounds of Swiss play, which determine which players make it to the top 8 and get to play for the championship. And at Pro Tour Return to Ravnica, Stanislav Slivka unleashed one of the most
Why didn't people run Graveyard Hate? Why wouldn't this be deemed illegal? Okay, so the deck is legal because, okay, so Magic has a rule, and it's, I forget what rule number it is, but the idea is that if you do an action, it eventually has to resolve into something. You can explain how you go infinite, and then do that combo however many times you need to, but like your combo has to go somewhere. And if you're just stalling the game state by doing a repetitive action that achieves nothing, for instance, untapping and retapping a card, that doesn't help. As far as why did no one run Graveyard Hate, I would assume because this deck design is such a weird fucking choice. like no one built against it.
Performances the game had ever seen. After 15 rounds of Swiss play, Sifka was 15-0 with his eggs deck, only having dropped 2 single games along the way. This meant that heading into round 16, the last round of Swiss play, Sifka had already locked up the #1 seed in the top 8, which offers a huge benefit of getting to play first in every single top 8 match, although he still had a reason to try to win round 16. Only one player in the history of Magic had ever gone undefeated through the Swiss rounds of the Pro Tour, and if Sifka could win round 16, he could be the second, although in the end, he ended up dropping round 16 to Calvin Chu playing Infect, which put him into the next day's top 8 as the #1 seed with a 15-1 record. In the first round of the top 8, Sifka was up against a very bored and miserable Pedro Cavallo on Affinity, and although the match ended in a relatively fast for eggs, 1 hour and 7 minutes, it was pretty clear that by the end of the match, Pedro just didn't want to be there. At one point he asked if he could take a nap.
Just putting his hand face up on the table.
Yes.
So there you see his ever-expanding...
Is this your hand? Yeah. No, madam.
This is your hand.
Can I take a nap or something?
Huge congratulations to Pedro Carvalho on the left of your screen there. Believe me, if you feel miserable, you don't feel as miserable as Pedro watching this right now, because he has the best ringside seat in the house.
And eventually, as the match pushed past the hour mark, Pedro was just done. He almost begged Sifka in a pained voice to stop, saying he'd had enough, please. It wasn't so much that Sifka beat Pedro, he really took away his will to play Magic during the top 8 of a Pro Tour.
Is that enough?
Cycle.
Please?
Yes. And that is game, set, and match.
In the semifinals, Sifka's opponent, Li Shichan, took a slightly different technique, which was pretty much just never giving up no matter how dead he was, to the point where the announcers actually started to wonder if maybe his strategy was to, like, tire Sifka out playing his own deck. Maybe Sifka, who actually did look pretty bored at times, even though he was the one comboing off, would just get tired of playing it and concede or something.
That deck is getting
I mean, what else do you do? Yeah, the combo eventually ends with the Pyro, here, I'm going to back up to it. This card, the Pyrite Spellbomb. There's one of them in the deck, so he spends the entire 60 card deck is based around getting the combo together to be able to get one Pyrite Spellbomb to just go off infinitely by using Second Sunrise or any of those other equivalents. To keep hitting it. So it does 2 damage, but you have to sacrifice it. And then you... Like, there's legitimately not a... Like, this deck runs itself after a while. This deck is balls. This deck is really obnoxious. Because in order for you to kill someone with this, you have to do, 20 damage. So that means you have to do the combo at least 10 times after shifting your deck all the way to the point where you can find this. So, bare minimum, you'll have to do the combo 20 times. It's,
Is this your hand? Yeah. No, madam.
This is your hand.
Can I take a nap or something?
Huge congratulations to Pedro Carvalho on the left of your screen there. Believe me, if you feel miserable, you don't feel as miserable as Pedro watching this right now, because he has the best ringside seat in the house.
And eventually, as the match pushed past the hour mark, Pedro was just done. He almost begged Sifka in a pained voice to stop, saying he'd had enough, please.
It's a very... Yeah, this whole combo is just... It will work every time, assuming that you get to go off. Basically, your opponent has to rush you down, but it seems like it's a fairly low mana curve to get the combo going. It's like 3 mana or something like that. Hi, Abby. Oh my god, really? Wow.
To beat Pedro, he really took away his will to play Magic during the top 8 of a Pro Tour.
Is that enough?
Cycle.
Please?
Yes. And that is game, set, and match.
In the semifinals, Sifka's opponent, Li Shichan, took a slightly different technique, which was pretty much just never giving up no matter how dead he was, to the point where the announcers actually started to wonder if maybe his strategy was to, like, tire Sifka out playing his own deck. Maybe Sifka, who actually did look pretty bored at times, even though he was the one comboing off, would just get tired of playing it and concede or something.
So that deck is getting pretty thin.
So Sifka's shown him this Pirates Spellbomb.
Can we see Abby? Yeah.
Well, the thing is, Sifka didn't show him. Li Shichan said, show me. Do you have it? Was what he said.
Yeah.
And at that point, Sifka's like, well, all right, well, yes, I have. So it wasn't like Sifka was just thought you might like to see this.
Hi, Abby.
He got asked the question, so it was like, well, there's no reason not to tell you that I have. And then Li Shichan just kind of shrugs and goes, oh, cool. Good to know. Hey, nice art. And then on we go. So not quite sure what Li Shichan is hoping for here, other than maybe just a slight element of trying to exhaust Sivka through you do it.
He's done this 32 times successfully.
In the first match alone, it took a full 7 copies of Face Reward in Second Sunrise until Lee would finally scoop it up.
A much better bet is that Sivka's going to be 1-0 up. I nearly said shortly.
I mean, yeah, this is a solitaire deck. This is the kind of toxic shit you see in.
Was enough for Lee Shi-Tian Lee to pack it in.
But in the end, the match took almost 2 hours to complete, but Zivka prevailed, and Lee Shi-Tian mostly managed to stay awake through the whole thing, which was pretty impressive.
There's the hand.
He's just like, come on. I mean, I think really the only strategy, once this combo starts popping off, I think the only strategy you really have is pay attention for 2 hours and hope that he makes a misplay of a illegal game state, and then win based on that. I'm aware, Abby. I know. What the hell is happening in Yu-Gi-Oh?
In the finals of Pro Tour Return to Ravnica, Sivka would face reigning player of the year Yuya Watanabe. This was several years before the now infamous Tronland.
Oh, no.
Would get Yuya banned from competitive play, and Yuya had his own unique way to deal with the tedium of playing against eggs. He started off by fiddling with some dice on the table to keep himself occupied.
It's the only 30k video game. Yeah, Horus Heresy is not a great card game.
And then he decided, well, I'm gonna be stuck here for the next half hour. I might as well just help Sivka play his deck by keeping track of his floating mana for him as he goes through his combo turns. I guess you got nothing better to do, so you might as well make yourself useful.
Which one of them cheated? The guy that's getting comboed on cheated in a different tournament.
And Yuya's fiddling with Sivka's mana there. Rearranging it.
Leave my mana alone. It's the 3 blue. I'll deal with it for you, says Watanabe.
Well, he wants to do something. He wants to see an interactive matchup.
Sure. Gives him something to do. As we see.
Well, the finals took nearly 2 hours to complete. In the end, Sivka won the match and completed one of the most dominant and definitely one of the most boring runs in Pro Tour history, going 18-1 through the event to...
Oh, Grape Shot would work too. Where the fuck did that come from? I mean, Grape Shot would be almost less annoying. Yeah, can you just end with Grape Shot? Because, like, every time you play one of those baubles, you're doing a spell. And so if you run, I don't know, if you could just keep doing the combo until you get Grape Shot, I feel like that's less annoying than keep doing the combo until you get Pyrite Spellbomb and then just use it a bunch. Because, like, as soon as you draw a Grape Shot, you just keep fucking with your hand. No, this guy did not cheat. Is it important for it to be an artifact? I don't think he needed to use Pyrite Spellbomb, but I think it's the idea is that it's an egg, and he wanted eggs in his egg deck. So, no.
Claim the trophy.
Sivka has a rictus grin on his face that is part agony, part disbelief, part wonder.
Rictus, he's gonna kill him.
Draw. Watanabe is waiting to see the Grape Shot that will end things. Draw. Sivka really is going through the motions. And Storm Count goes to 14. That is a great shot.
Hilariously, at the end of the deciding Game 5, Sivka even punted. He didn't take into account that Yuya could gain 2 life.
So this guy over here, the Japanese black shirt guy, he cheated in an unrelated tournament.
With his Deathrite Shaman, so he cast his sideboard Grape Shot for 1 damage less than lethal, but it didn't actually matter because he could just loop his entire deck and do it again.
Gain 2.
So this guy, the guy pops up. How does he defend from damage? He can't. Oh, do you mean like this guy? I think he just pops off his combo like so early that you don't get a chance. And yeah, this guy, he did the combo, he did 20 damage, which would have been the end of the game. And then the guy was like, I'm going to use this thing to heal for 2. So now he has 22 health. And then the guy has done 20 damage to him, which means that this guy has to do the combo again. There was no reason to do this. It was literally just to troll the other guy to make him do the combo one more time for 2 more damage.
Do we have to go through this all over again?
Okay.
One. He just gets one more spell. Yes, that's right. And that's why Watanabe keeps on going. What a pro.
Joke's on you, I'm also insane. Yeah, I think the winning play here is literally wait for him to do a misplay. And then go, hey, TO, he just did a misplay. That's an illegal game state. I'm going to ask for a resignation now. It's a technical win, but considering how many... I would assume this guy practiced this deck to hell and back, so he knows how to use it.
What?
3 white.
3 white.
3 white.
3 more white. Any more dice anywhere? There's the handshake. There you go. Stanislav Sivka is the Pro Tour champion, returned to Ravnica 2012. 3 words. Eggs. Basket. 1.
After the Pro Tour, the Eggs deck was almost immediately the target of hate from the community. As one Redditor put it, the Pro Tour ended with Sivka masturbating his deck onto the board, and that just didn't seem like real Magic. And while this comment was perhaps a bit crude, it really wasn't that far off. Eggs didn't really play like a traditional Magic deck. Instead, it played like some strange form of torture. You know in the horror movie when eventually the beleaguered victim is so beaten down and worn out that they turn to the villain and they're like, please just kill me.
Kill me. Please just kill me.
That's the experience of playing against Eggs. I mean, literally, we saw that in the match with Pedro Cavallo in the top 8 of the Pro Tour.
Is that enough? Cycle, please.
Eggs was never the most played deck in Modern or the best deck in Modern, but it was certainly the most hated. In the months following his Pro Tour return to Ravnica, Eggs would post a few finishes on Magic Online and do well in a few PTQs, but it was never that heavily played, in part because it was so incredibly boring, and in part because it was super difficult to play optimally. And you might be thinking, well, that's the end of the Egg story. This weird janky deck spiked the Pro Tour, was super boring, and then faded off into obscurity. But that's not how this story ends. The most infamous Eggs incident didn't actually come from Pro Tour return to Ravnica. No, that would happen at Grand Prix San Diego a few months later in
Jesus Christ, why?
At Grand Prix San Diego, Nathan Holliday decided to run Eggs with a deck that looked very much like the one Sivka had used when Pro Tour returned to Ravnica a few months earlier. Much like Sivka, Holliday very slowly crushed the rest of the field, eventually finding himself in the top 8, where he'd be matched up against one of Magic's most popular players in the quarterfinals, the Dragon Master Brian Kibler. Kibler was playing an Abzan mid-range deck that looked to beat his opponent down with cards like Tarmogoyf, and his fair deck was simply no match for Holliday's combo. This part isn't a surprise. What is a surprise is how Kibler handled the tedium of the match. Once Holliday started to combo, Kibler took out a scrap piece of paper and wrote F6 on it in big letters. F6 is the Magic Online hotkey for I'm not making any more plays this turn no matter what. And then he simply left the table mid-combo and headed off to the bathroom while Holliday continued to make his play.
All right, reshape. All right, and once again, we see the Kibler F6 button come out. Now, for those of you that don't play on Magic Online, the F6 button is one of my friends. It's a button that you hit. Basically says, I will do nothing else for the rest of this turn. It says,
I yield
all priority triggers, everything, just go. The people that love this deck love this deck. You know, it does have a lot to appreciate about it. It's just not the most fun deck to play against necessarily.
No, it sucks ass to play against. Are you kidding me?
That's about all I can do.
Well, I mean, he played this matchup at the end of the day yesterday, and I think actually, he just went to the bathroom.
Oh yeah.
While his opponent was going off.
I think you're right.
That's right. Eggs was so boring that it actually made one of Magic's most well-known pros walk away from the table in the middle of a match with the outcome still up in the air. And this marked the end for Eggs in Modern. A few weeks later, when the next ban list update was announced, Wizards banned Second Sunrise in Modern. In the announcement, they stated that the problem wasn't that Eggs was too good for Modern. Actually, Modern was pretty diverse, they said, and had no dominant deck. But Eggs needed to go because its long combo turns were making it impossible for tournaments to finish in a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
The way that tournament Magic works is if a match runs out of time, there are 5 more turns to conclude the game. Normally, these turns happen pretty quickly and the game comes to an end, but with one of these turns, including an Eggs combo, it can make the entire tournament wait for 10, 15, 20, or even more minutes while one player looped through their deck with their artifacts, hoping to eventually find a way to win. Basically, the Eggs deck got banned, not because it was too strong, but because it was simply too boring and took too long to play. Coresat 2013,
yeah, it sucks ass.
Released on July 13th, 2012, itself. Second sunrise was banned on May 3rd of 2013, so all in all, the reign of eggs lasted for right around 10 months, perhaps the 10 longest, boringest months in the entire history of the modern format. And that's the story of the rise and fall of the short-lived modern deck that literally poured opponents to death while winning a Pro Tour, and eventually managed to bore itself out of existence altogether. Looking for even more magic? Well, check out the—
Like, yeah, that deck will work, but it just sucks. Like, no one wants to play that.
Mayonnaise.
Oh, I love this guy's shit. Tilda showed me this guy's stuff originally. So he does stuff on TikTok and all that. This guy cooks regular, he cooks like Depression era food. It's interesting.
Cake from 56. This has been my most requested cake. Of course, it's the mayonnaise, flour, sugar, floofers. Today you will rise. Powdered cocoa. Why, she smells like chocolate. Mayonnaise! And it's not just a little bit. No, it's a severe, unauthorized cup of mayonnaise. Cup
Jesus
of water.
fuck.
Honey, you can't dilute a war crime. You know, it's horrible now, but I hope it turns out okay. Like children. I'm sending you to summer camp. For the frosting, we boil milk, sugar, cocoa, and margarine. Fire! Beat in mayonnaise to the chocolate. Do you keep it in your purse? Hello. Maybe if I just don't think about it. Good heavens. Holy fuck. Fantastically moist. The chocolate is tangy.
The YouTube chat is on, yes. Yeah, the big old long deck was intentionally made because of a rules issue that they wanted to fix. Like, it wasn't meant as a...
Imagine you've been traveling for a few days, you're low on supplies, you get to the outskirts of a big medieval town or city. You are ravenous. Where do you go and get food cheaply and quickly?
The long deck, yeah.
Outside of towns and cities, most people in the medieval period prepared their own food. If you were relatively modest, a peasant, for example, which most of us were, you'd have your own hearth and you'd make food in a skillet or a ceramic or an iron pot. There were things like frying pans and equivalent around, especially later on in the medieval period. And basically, you made the food yourself. If you were rich, you had ovens and you had a kitchen and you had staff and they would prepare the food for you. But in towns and cities, things started to change. It was about the middle of the medieval period when cookshops started to appear. These were medieval fast food. And what I mean by fast food,
I mean, sometimes people end up being immortal. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
It's been cooked not to order, but it's been cooked to be consumed, but nobody quite knows who's going to buy it yet. You could just go up to the cook shop and buy a pie and consume it there and then. Around the middle of the medieval period, towns and cities were starting to expand quite dramatically. There were a lot more travelers, there was a lot more commerce.
Is there a reason why you're standing? Like, I appreciate the social distancing, but like, it's okay. You can be a little bit closer to the camera. He was a judge, but he did it. The change happened afterwards. While he got no information about the reason from Konami, it is confirmed that the long deck situation made them aware of deck links as a potential problem. So it wasn't actually intentional. Oh, I thought that it was. Never mind.
There's a lot more going to and from places. So the demand for cookshops started to expand, and where there's a demand, it will be delivered. And those cookshops.
Hey, Android, thank you for the 90. 90 fucking months of support.
Very busy. So next to a market square or next to a busy gate into a main city, and they would serve the passing clientele. In real towns like Norwich and Bristol, there were actual streets called Cook Street or Cook's Lane, and those were the places where the cook shops mostly were. In the medieval period, types of trade tended to group together. You wanted to go and eat something, or you go to the Cook Street and grab your food. And in Bristol, there was even a guild hall for the cooks. So they had their own organisation, like a lot of specialist trades did. I like to think, though, if you were in a fantasy city, the cook shops might be set up to feed adventurers who are coming back from their travels.
Sure.
Right next to the gates, or in the market square, or near adventurers' guilds, perhaps. There would be a set of cook shops delivering food for those specific types of people.
So what did you eat in a cook shop?
To think that
like, what kind of food did they put out? They said pies, but like what kind?
In a particular stylish way. Most medieval towns were surprisingly crowded, actually, and road frontage was at a premium, especially on things like market squares and important streets, which is where the passing traffic is going to be. In a lot of cases, I think it's likely that the size of a house kind of reflects a certain amount the size of a market stall back in the very early days of that settlement.
Sure.
People kind of ended up with semi-permanent market stalls, and they then went backwards. So a lot of houses were very narrow frontage, but they'd have the main house at the front, they'd have a small narrow courtyard, and then often they'd have their real kitchens at the back in ordinary houses. But in specific cook shops, often when they were built as cook shops, the ovens and the cooking facilities were at the front.
He's
because
having a good
that's where the
time.
action was
I
going to
agree.
take place. And in a lot of places, you don't have glass in the windows. You effectively have a shutter or board that goes up over the gap in the front of the stall, and that is lowered during the day and acts as a table for your wares to be set out. It's literally a display.
I don't mind small
place,
pies at all.
and you
Yeah,
can
I mean,
prepare
there used to be a place called God, I forget what it's called, but there was a pie place that was on the Drag in Austin that was pretty good. I almost died once because they had soy in it. They changed the recipe, and I've told this story before. This happened years ago when I was streaming. Tiny pies or big pies? It was a tiny pie. So me and my friend ordered from this place called Couch Potato Austin. It's sort of like Grubhub before Grubhub was a thing. You would order and they would bring you shit from like the convenience store or whatever, right? It's cool. I would imagine they probably went out of business after Uber Eats and COVID, but I don't know. Anyway, you could get, anything delivered, like pie and beer. So we ordered some beers and we ordered some pies from this pie place, and we'd heat up the pies in the oven and we'd drink the beers. So me and my friend were hanging out. We haven't hung out in a while. We decide that's what we're going to have for food. So we drink a couple beers and we're having some food. And I get a couple like bites in and I'm like, man, my throat's feeling a little scratchy. And so I check the thing and it's like got like teriyaki sauce or something. Soy sauce was in it. And yeah, we had to go to the emergency room. My friend was like, do we really have to go? And I'm like, yeah. So the worst part was going into an emergency room while drunk. Like, that just makes you feel like an alcoholic. I will tell you that right now for free.
Food on it, but you could also show what you were selling. And that's really interesting because at the end of the day, that would be shut up and bolted because there was no glass in windows. Glass was available in the medieval period, but it was really reserved for churches and rich people.
Do we have to go, bro? Yeah. Yeah. I'm not super close with that guy anymore for some reason. Can we do anything with this slope, maybe? What do you do? What is this? God, half these things don't do a goddamn thing. Shear? Maybe we put that in. Oh. Oh. Yeah, that could be okay.
And it's not very secure. You need to be fairly certain of your security if you're going to have a...
Is the UI on the chat screen having autism for a reason? Yeah, I'm trying to make a lava lamp for my game. And I'm doing that in the background while we're doing stuff. It's on purpose, yeah. Basically, I'm having an ADD moment. Maybe I can do like random. Sin. Definitely giving that vibe. It's just more or less a thing. So sin times time gives us that bounce wave, but I need it to be wobbly too. What if you just record a real lava lamp and video? I mean, I could, but what if we just make this one time?
Glass windows, certainly in the early medieval period and the middle medieval period. One of the other reasons.
Oh, and you guys are getting an ad. Fuck. All right, you're looking at this now. Just until the ad's over. I love that you pronounce sin like the Christian word. I legitimately did not take trigonometry. I don't know what sin does. I just know it makes it go wobbly. And that's what I want. And it has never been relevant to my life. Sine? Lucky? Yeah, I mean, realistically, it did nothing for me. Splattler. Input 16? What do you do? Nothing of relevance, apparently. I had to repeat the 10th grade because of trig. Fuck that. Or 10th grade math anyway. Continuation. Distance. Swirl? Mayhaps? Oh. That's pretty good. Oh my god, yeah, I hate allergy warning stuff. Because it's never quite right. This is probably got to be... I bet you we got to take this. And then... it's send time. Okay. Radius. I don't know if I want it bigger or smaller. Oh, yeah, no, I did the water texture. It's got some issues, but...
houses to be quite narrow, apart from the premium, is they often pay taxes based on road frontage. So the wider your house was, the broader it fronted onto the main thoroughfare, probably the more tax you had to pay. And also, the more road you had to look after, because everybody had an obligation to look after the road directly in front of their building. Didn't always do it, but there was a legal obligation to look after the road in front of you. So what kind of food was actually available in these cook shops? Well,
yes.
We have a record, a chap called Fitzstephen in the Norman period, so from Norman London, describes what you could get in the cook shops. And he talks about fried, roast and boiled meat of all sorts.
Okay.
He talks about great and small fishes. And he talks about a coarser kind of meat for the poor, We don't actually know what that coarser meat was, of course. I leave it to your imagination. Maybe you can put it in the comments. But he literally talks about a coarser kind of meat for the poor. May just have been worse cut, perhaps?
That's probably what he meant, but it's scary to hear the words coarser meat.
We just don't know. If you wanted bread, you had to get that from the baker. So you could get specific types of food from the cook shop, but if you wanted bread, you had to go to the baker. You couldn't buy bread from the cook shops. You went to the baker. If you wanted ale, you'd go to an ale house. So I imagine scenes where you wanted to have a bit of a meal, you wanted drink, you wanted bread, you wanted a pie. Well, you go to 3 different places and sort of take your snacks with you. I have this vision of the medieval streets filled with people at certain times of the day, choosing what they want to get from which cook shop and deciding, oh, there'll be a nice ale that'll go with this, or I fancy a glass of mead, I better go into this tavern. And so people were carrying food around from one establishment to the other and eating a lot of it on the streets. There weren't such things yet as pavement cafes, as far as I can tell. In the later medieval period...
God, like, they didn't even have food courts? Like that, I mean, that kind of makes sense as a thing to have. I mean, I don't know, I guess they had to be invented at some point. When was the food court invented? Is that a mall thing? Or, like, surely the idea of putting a bunch of food stalls in one area is, like, just something that someone came up with early, right? Seems so basic.
The records talk about all sorts of pies with meat or fish. Not sure about vegetarian pies, but presumably there was some vegetable component in them as well.
Trying to have them for 100, 2,000 years. Yeah, like, why wouldn't they?
Clergy, for example. But broadly speaking, that was not something that people were particularly familiar with.
What's a food court? In the mall, there'll be a section of the mall that just has seating for tables and food. You'll see these at airports, malls, everywhere. And it'll be like a bunch of different things. Can't see the window. Yeah. I moved it off to the side because I didn't want to like dox myself just in case if Google decided to do that. But like, yeah, they'll have like, you can go to, you know, a whole bunch of different places to get food. You get what you want. I mean, that looks very much like the one in like, you've surely seen one of these things, because this is just like how they are. Like, you can get food there. This just seems like a thing you would do at like automats are cooler than food courts.
Middle of the medieval period, you could get all sorts of things. You could get lots of different types of pies with different fillings. You could get what are called hotcakes. You could get wafers. You could get pasties. You could get cheese flans. Kind of a quiche, I suppose. You could get
quiche would probably be pretty good.
And wafers.
I like me quiche.
Sounds quite varied. There was an awful lot of stuff that you could actually get hold of from specific pie shops and specific pasty shops and specific cheesecake shops. So it's really interesting. If you wanted a type of food, you went to a shop, a cook shop that supplied that kind of food. Other things that I mentioned are roast beef ribs. That sounds pretty good. Peas cods. Now, peas cod is interesting because it's whole pea pods, complete with the peas inside them, braised or I guess kind of fried in butter with salt. Now I think that sounds really quite nice, quite a good comfort food, and that sounds great. This one though doesn't sound quite so appetizing for me anyway. Hot sheep's feet. That was definitely on the menu as well. Never seen those in my modern life, and it's not really something I would particularly think I would want to eat. Some cook shops would actually offer a service. They would cook your food for you, so you could bring the ingredients to them and ask them to put those ingredients into a pie, which would then be cooked in their oven, and you would presumably either wait on the premises, hanging around for 20 minutes, half an hour while it was cooked, or you go to the local ale house, have a couple of pots of ale, come back again and get your pie or pasty from the cook shop. I have no idea how they maintained whose pie or pasty was
I would imagine
belonging to which customer. Maybe it wasn't that busy, or maybe they just recognized who it was. And I do wonder...
Yeah, I love the fucking... I don't understand why he filmed this so far away.
Whether the odd, slightly dodgy cook shop owner might swap out particular ingredients for cheaper ingredients while the client wasn't looking. Unlikely, but not impossible. I have this vision of adventurers going in with certain amounts of food and wanting it to be prepared for them. And so they just offer this food up and go to the pub, literally go to the
He's
pub,
saying,
the ale house or the tavern,
pasty,
and then
I
come back
believe.
again later and get their pasties and then wander off to do more adventuring while eating pasties. Cook shops were so important in the period that there were quite strict rules about what they could and couldn't do. For example, we know there are written down rules that you're not allowed to throw your dirty water into the middle of the street. I presume you had to put it actually into a cesspit behind your shop, or put it in a barrel and have it taken away later. And you were not allowed to reheat meat as well. There are very specific hygiene rules in some places. You're not allowed to reheat meat, or you'd be fined if you were discovered doing it. I'm sure a few people did though. Some people talk about spices being used to cover up the taste of rotten meat. Well, I want to tell you that that's completely untrue. If you had enough money for posh spices, you certainly had enough money for fresh meat. So the
That
idea
kind of
that
doesn't
you'd
make a whole
use
lot of
cinnamon
sense.
or nutmeg to disguise the taste of rotting meat is absurd if you think about it in detail. Those were very expensive spices. So you had cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger for wealthy people or people with enough money or wanting an expensive pie. But for more ordinary folk, you also had flavourings. You had flavourings like onion and mustard. Those were considered to be lower expense. Those were locally available and could be eaten in quantity.
I mean, people did have hygiene back in the day. They just didn't really know what they were doing. Like, miasma is wrong, but they had like a... The idea of miasma is really interesting. Because it's like this idea that there's like this invisible evil gas that exists, that's the reason you get sick. And it's like, man, that's like almost right. That's kind of how disease works. You're a bit off, but like, I appreciate where you're going with that. You know? Also, this thing does not seem to be working the way I want it to. Anyway.
Poor people. Whilst there were hygiene rules, it appears that cook shops for poorer people, for clientele that were on the, well, were destitute or very poor, were also notorious for bad hygiene.
Yeah, and the doctor suits worked, but for the wrong reasons. Like, they were onto something, but they didn't quite get it. And that's a lot of stuff. Remember how people thought scurvy was caused by not sweating enough? I did not know that. Like, they knew something was wrong, and they tried to do something, and it kind of makes sense.
Quite a lot of this. The poor in towns and cities often lived in tenement buildings. They often didn't even have cooking or washing facilities. They were that poor. They couldn't even...
The whole beak being filled with flowers, that was like the only thing that was like wrong, right? They waterproofed the suit like with wax, which was correct. It meant that it was essentially a hazard suit. And you've got a stick, which does allow you to maintain some distance. And the mask acts like just like a, you know, it probably did a half decent job of acting as a mask, as a filter. I would imagine a majority of it was actually just like, it probably just made it more pleasant to do your job. I don't imagine it would actually change the the job itself, unfortunately.
And cook for themselves. So they had to frequent cook shops, but at the dodgier end, the cheaper end of the cook shop standards. So cook shops were essential for that category of human being. And those cook shops tended to be shunned by the middle class and the upper class completely. And they were much dodgier. And there are a lot of stories to tell about dodgy cook shops. In the medieval literature, cook shops that catered to the poor are described.
Why is he so far away? I have no idea. That's the only thing that's weird about this, is he's making a very good video and he's making it with good content and he knows what he's talking about, it sounds like. It's just, why are you so fucking far away from the camera?
Purveyor of unpalatable food. He is quick to anger, hot-tempered and prone to drunkenness. His cook shop is described as fly-filled, his food is often reheated, and as a final insult to his cooking prowess, it describes a particularly foul parsley garnish that he uses. Doesn't sound that bad, but I guess parsley garnish was considered to be a bad thing. And from a personal perspective, which is pretty awful for a cook, I suppose, is he's described as having an ulcerated and stinking leg wound. It's a fairly colourful description and probably doesn't represent the majority of cooks. Maybe it does, maybe they were all awful, but I think it's likely there's a bit of personal vendetta going on here. I reckon this is somebody that Chaucer didn't like, and he's describing them in personal terms.
Yeah, of course.
And it's gone down in history. We'll never know the real person, but somebody got their revenge. Whilst Chaucer's cook may have been a literary invention, we do know through the court records that some of them were dodgy. In 1380, for example, some pastillers were prosecuted for filling their pasties with stinking offal and food that was not fit for consumption, but also for faking the contents of their food. They were accused of putting beef in the pasties and selling it as venison. So there's a bit of passing off there going on. So it doesn't say that the beef pasties were bad, it just says they were lying about the contents. I think that's kind of interesting because there's sort of baking fraud, contents fraud going on there. The fact that cook shops were so important to the poor meant there was legislation.
Why is this? Okay, this is like the fourth time this happened where they just randomly have this in the middle. This leads me to believe that YouTube broke something.
They could and couldn't serve. So for example, we know that was a rule that cook shops in a certain area had to serve pies with meat that were 1 penny, but that were as good as the twopenny pies. I don't really know what that means, but it's a specific rule that they had to follow. Possibly the amount of meat or the quality of meat could vary, but there's definitely, they had to sell penny pies as well as twopenny pies. And the fine for not doing so was 6 shillings and 8 pence. There was a much smaller food vendor as well, one without premises, and these walked around with trays of food for reselling. These were called hucksters, and they would often shout out their wares to all and sundry in the street as they wandered around, presumably vying for the best places, presumably trying to sell the food they've got in front of them as quickly as possible while it was still hot. These actually, for me, remind me very early on when I went to the cinema, where people used to come down and serve ice creams and treats in the interval of the cinema. So they're a kind of huckster, if you like. We even have a record of the sort of thing that might have been shouted out across the streets to sell your food. Piers Plowman is a wonderful poem. It's very dense, it's got a lot of data in it, it's really interesting. But there's a sequence in it where it's described as cooks and their knaves shouting out across the street, and they shout out, hot pies, geese and piglets, come dine, trying to get people into their cook shops to eat at certain times of the...
What is he talking about? He's talking about what fast food was like in medieval times. And I guess they just would shout random shit at people like they do now. Get them while they're hot. Geese and pigs.
Of the day. Imagine that. Imagine variations of that everywhere you went on the cook's row. People shouting out their wares. I think that gives quite a lot of colour and depth to the kind of sounds that the medieval street might have been.
Yes, I was talking about the Helen Keller thing. Not gonna lie, the chat on screen is unreadable. Yeah, probably because of the thing that I'm doing to it right now. So like, I'm liking what I've got here, but I can't get it to shift to gray sometime. I think that I've got to do like maybe an oh wow, that's wild. That's really trippy. Dixie Cup core. You could probably change the color in the chat display.
In the 1370s and 1380s, we have a record of a poet called Thomas Hoccleve, who's reminiscing about his days working as a civil servant in Whitehall. And he talks about at lunchtime going to the taverns and eating and drinking. He drank sweet wine and ate pastries and wafers to the sound of pipe, harp and psaltery. And they're all kinds of musical instrument. And I think that's lovely to think that he was dining at lunchtime and there was music going on as well, medieval music. Whether it was any good or not, I guess we'll never know. But he literally comments on that. So he's eating his wafers and drinking his sweet wine and listening to medieval music on the streets of London. We have another record of a traveller from Venice commenting on London, and he comments about how meat seems to be available everywhere, and there was geese and there was pork and there was beef. He also talks about swans and venison in great amounts. He said there was so much food everywhere to be found in London. He doesn't like the English ale though. He describes it as smelling like horse's piss with bits of husks on the top, and it's cloudy. It seems
ironically nothing has changed.
That fast food in the medieval period was readily available, especially in the larger towns and cities. I think it's really interesting because it was a whole cultural thing. There were occasionally street cafes. There were also places you could go to get a particular type of pie and then some bread and another place for ale. So I imagine quite a lot of people would have been circulating at lunchtime or maybe in the evenings. And I think that gives a different flavour and colour to some medieval cities. It strikes me they were actually much busier and more social places than I'd perhaps thought before.
I think that's going to be it for now, because I think I hear my wife downstairs and I would like to kiss her. That being said, what do you guys think of this? You think it looks cool? I think it looks neat. I'm kind of going for like an oil slick lava lamp kind of vibe. And this is pretty fucking close to that. It looks cool, but it's not a lava lamp. You're an Earthbound battle? Oh yeah, you okay, hold on. Let's try. Let's just try loading it up real quick. It's very oil slick, but not necessarily very lava lamp, right? I need to get rid of okay, that's chat. Okay, this needs to go away. Remove. Yes. Okay. That. And then animated sprite. Load assets. We didn't save it. All right, we got to export it. Why do I remember you having the exact same problem 2 years ago? Generally speaking, there's something wrong with me. I don't know exactly what you're referring to, but yeah. No, that sounds legit. Load recent goop texture 3. Not actually sure where this is supposed to end. Hopefully it will. This all appears to do nothing. Ah, here it is. Boop. I love this tool. Was 2 years ago that the... Oh, right. Yeah, no, I do... ADHD streams have been a minute. I haven't done one of those in a while. Shiny goop. All right, load shiny goop. And then this layer needs to be animated and clip and draw. Let's see if this works. Not really. I'm still not happy with that. I want it to be like darker in general. And I had to turn the animation off because if I turn the animation on, then it just breaks it. Yeah, it still looks cool. Load assets. Animation slosh. Yeah, I don't know. Apply a filter to it? I don't know. This is supposed to be the filter that'll work. Have it as an alternate unlockable thing. Like, it's just, it looks bad. I don't know. Well, this is still for the fishing game, yeah. But anyway, I'm going to call it there for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys tomorrow with something else. I don't know what yet. We'll probably do a little bit more game deving. And then we'll maybe start a new game, or we'll Phoenix Riot or something. I don't know.